Thanks for coming, Juval.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to meet you last night and discuss some of the things we're going to be discussing today.
Yes.
I never thought in a million years that I'd be interviewing a Mossad assassin on my podcast.
Well, yes, I can
And you're
understand your feelings.
You're the first one that I'm at least aware of that has been here.
Yeah. Yes.
I guess, first of all,
And let me just say past assassin.
past assassin,
Yeah, yes.
not current assassin.
No,
Right.
not current Mossad assassin.
And not officially current association with Mossad.
That I leave open.
Okay, we'll leave that for people to
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
People can speculate in the comments. What was your first operation with the Mossad?
I was actually I graduated from an Israeli
Listen a little closer.
military elite unit. It's an Israeli SEAL unit, like the American SEALs. And when I graduated the unit and finished my duty, I became Golda Meir's bodyguard. She was the Prime Minister of Israel, and I became her personal bodyguard.
Wow.
So for 2-3 years, I actually acted as her, traveled with her all over the world, and that was not a Mossad, an assignment. Then the Munich Olympic massacre happened, where 11 Israeli athletes were killed by terrorists during the Olympics in Munich. Golda Meir decided to avenge the Munich massacre in such a way that it will send a message to terrorists: you do what you do, but we will find you individually for as long as it takes and will bring you to justice. You will not be able to travel freely and live freely for the rest of your life. To do so, those terrorists who did the massacre, some of them lived in and masterminded it. Those who masterminded it lived in Europe. They were not hiding in Arab countries because they were afraid that Israel will retaliate easily operating in Arab countries, but they will be afraid to operate in Europe because Europe will not allow that. So to do so, to find them and bring them to justice, Golda made a decision to put together a team of 5 commando agents who would go undercover in Europe, will search for those terrorists, and as they find them, bring them to justice. I was assigned to lead that team of 5. I was 22 years old. I traveled to Europe before, but I never had an assignment, such an assignment. So off we left, and right when I left, my daughter was born in Israel, and I couldn't even travel back to Israel to see her until much, much later. We were not allowed to come back and visit Israel. We lived in safe houses all over Europe, and for 3.5 years, we were chasing those terrorists. We did find them one by one and brought them to justice. They were all met their makers in different countries, in different cities, and it became a real mega operation. During that mission, I lost 3 of my own team members to accidents. I claim it's accidents, and but the Mossad thought that maybe they were also assassinated. And when it was over, that was only one other member and myself who were left. We decided to quit and just leave. It was the end of it, because Mossad suddenly had more lists of people that they wanted to get rid of. So this is not a career that I wanted to keep going. I had a young family now, and I wanted to just leave.
So that was your first and last official?
That was the first and last. I moved to the United States, brought my wife and my daughter to the U.S., and decided I'm going to make America my home. At one point, I wrote a book about that mission called Vengeance. The book became a bestseller worldwide. It was translated to 32 languages. And at one point, Steven Spielberg bought the rights to the book and my life story, and the movie Munich is based on my life story. There was another movie made on the same subject by a Canadian producer called The Sword of Gideon.
Right.
It became an HBO miniseries, and then it became a full-time movie all over the world. So that was the one big Mossad operation that put me on the scene and created my beginning in the United States.
Why do you think she chose you to lead that operation?
I think because she had, first of all, she knew very well my parents. I became like a son to her. And she felt comfortable that I will do the right thing. And when she made the decision, she took me aside. I'll never forget that. Put her arm on my shoulder and said, listen carefully. No innocent bystander should be hurt in that mission. If you have to stop the mission for a while because you are worried about innocent bystanders, you do that. In a way, she said, don't call us, we'll call you. And congratulations and good luck to you. If you are, I'll never forget that. If you are successful, we will read it in the papers. If you are not, who cares? And that was the goodbye the last time I spoke to her before I went to that mission.
And didn't you say there was a specific protocol that had to be taken where you had to like stop the people and look them in the eye and ask them?
Well, that was, then I met the team members that I never met before. I was the youngest team member. The rest of them were much older and had experience, Mossad experience. And my first worry was, why would they listen to me?
Right.
I'm the young guy. And I have to give credit to Mossad. They chose and put a team together that never had an argument, never had an issue internally. I always ask everyone for their opinion. What should we do? How should we do it? Recommended advice and so on. But when I made the final decision, they all agreed to it and acted upon it. So that was one thing that I still think going back. Because now that I put teams together to do some other things, I know how hard it is to put a team together that don't have internal conflict among themselves, that don't have their own agendas. God forbid they can't be bought. That could also happen, and then you're in trouble because they can go against you. So that was all done mysteriously by Mossad, and it all worked out. So I have to give them credit for that. How it ended is a different story. I decided not to go back to Israel because I knew if I go back to Israel at the time, they will force me in a way to continue doing what I was doing.
Oh, you're talking about, you're fast forwarding to when you moved to New York now.
Yeah. And then I decided that New York would be the place I want to be.
And I want to linger on that. It was Wrath of God. Is that the name of the operation?
Well, it was, yeah.
Where you guys hunted down. And how many of those guys did you hunt down?
11.
11 of them. And it took how long?
3.5 years.
3.5 years.
3.5 years, yes.
What was it like? Were you guys all traveling together and camping out in safe houses together? And
we all stayed at a safe house together. We chose different safe houses, which at one point I can elaborate about because it's a story by itself. Because we didn't rent it or design it. We had nothing to do with Mossad. This was our operation. Before we left, Mossad assigned to us, gave us $20 million in a Swiss bank account for that operation, that we can draw money as we need to pay for information, resources, buying weapons, buying explosive, whatever we needed.
Wow.
And I was the one who had the signature at the bank to go and draw money. And I have to tell you that we were so honest and so, I'm looking for a word, that we never used the operation money for our own purposes. If we had to buy shoes or we have to do something else, we paid with our own allowance money and not that $20 million that were assigned for that.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back today, I should have probably take a few $1 million put aside for rainy days because of how it ended with Mossad, who, we'll get into it, didn't pay me in the end for the operation.
Not anything.
Anything.
And didn't you, at what point did you meet Yanni? Netanyahu?
Oh, that was before I left. I mean,
much before.
And when I joined the Entebbe raid to release the terrorists in Entebbe, the Israeli hostages in Entebbe, which he led.
So you weren't you were no association with Mossad when you were doing that.
No. But
so we're talking about Bibi Netanyahu's younger brother.
Younger brother.
Yeah.
That was a different operation. I was already in New York. I operated in New York, and the government called me and said, "We want you back to join this operation."
Mm-hmm. I see.
So that's how I joined that. So now I'm in New York, and I have to do something with my life. I'm illegally in New York. I have no green card or no visas. I came in on some of the passports that I had from the operations.
So when you did the operation, when you went to go prepare to do that, they have to give you a bunch of passports in case you guys have to get out of Dodge.
They didn't have to give me. They gave us one passport to leave the country, and then I had to go and purchase.
You had to go. So they just gave you the money, and you had to do all the work.
Yes. It started with getting papers, proper paper.
Oh, was that here?
Sorry.
That's okay. Tell the Mossad we said hello.
Yeah. So what have happened is the idea was they needed deniability. That's why the whole operation was done the way it was done.
Ah, I see.
Israel wanted to make sure that if something goes wrong and we get crazy and do something crazy, they can say, no, we don't know those people. They're crazy Israelis who took upon themselves to do it on their own. They're vigilantes. We don't know them. And the only thing that they would provide is legal defense through a third party. That's the agreement.
Right, which is why the money had to be put into a Swiss bank
account. That's the Swiss bank account. That's why they had no control of it.
That's why they couldn't pay you.
That's why they couldn't pay me. No, they could. They
could have found a creative way to pay you.
Yeah, of course. No, but they have done to each one of us, they created another account and put like a salary into it.
Right.
Amount of money that will grow through the duration of the operation. And when it's over, we will have a nice sum of money to retire, to do whatever we wanted to do.
Now,
I didn't know that those accounts were also controlled by them. I thought they only opened them. So every month, every 2 months, I used to visit the account and see how my money is growing, and I was enjoying it. And I said, in the end, I had about $350,000 in the account in 3.5 years. So I said that would be a nice chunk of money that I could then use to retire in New York.
Right.
Little I know, when I went to retire and they didn't like it, I went to pick up the money at the bank. The guy told me in the bank, I'm sorry to tell you, but you have $3 in the account right now. So apparently they had the right to put the money and also take the money out. So they thought if they take the money out, I'll be penniless, I have no papers, I have nowhere to go, I'll be forced to come back to Israel. And that really gave me the strength to continue staying in America, and said, no, They're not going to control my life. I will now do what I have to do to survive and hopefully get an American citizenship and stay in America. That was a plan.
So when you made the decision to leave the Mossad and come to America, did you officially go to anybody and declare that?
Yeah, of course. I traveled to Israel. I said, I'm leaving. They said, well, take a week or two vacation, go wherever you want, and when you come back, we'll discuss it. And I never came back to discuss it. I told them I'm out. That's over. Mm-hmm. And they knew that I'm in New York because I moved my wife and my daughter to New York, and they know where we are. I mean, it's not a...
And you're like 25 by this point? 26?
I'm sorry?
You're like 25, 26 years old?
Yeah. So now I'm in New York, and I need a job, and I couldn't get a job because I couldn't go for an interview. Anytime I went to a job interview, and they said, what have you been doing for the last 10 years? I couldn't tell them. I said, I'm sorry, I can't tell you. And they probably thought that either I was in jail or I was in a loony house or something like that. So they always said, nice to see you, and that's the end of the interview. So I started driving a cab in New York. I found a friend in Brooklyn who owned 2 cabs and gave me one of the cabs, and I became a cab driver in New York just to survive. And that was for a few months.
There's a lot of folks out there that unfortunately have to rely on things like alcohol and marijuana to help them wind down at the end of the day. But many people don't know that Amanita muscaria can help deliver the same results without all the negative downsides. Most people assume Amanita is a trippy botanical, but it's nothing like that. It's more of a smooth, calm, relaxing state of mind. Sometimes I like to take 2 or 3 capsules at the end of a stressful day because it helps me wind down and stay in the zone when I'm with my family. And it also helps me forget about all the stress of the upcoming week or forget about all the stress that I just dealt with the day before. The brand I trust is Amantara. Everything is transparently sourced, lab tested, and free from synthetics or mystery blends. They actually explain what you're taking instead of hiding everything behind the marketing. They've got capsules, gummies, chocolates, and even the raw fruiting bodies themselves. Most people start with 2 to 3 capsules and adjust slowly from there. Go to amantara.com/go/DJ and use the code DJP22 for 22% off your first order. Again, that's AMENTARA.com/go/DJ and use the code DJP22 for 22% off your first order.
Then at one point, Mossad realized I'm not coming back. So one night, I get a knock at the door, and 2 FBI agents came to see me and said, Mr. Aviv, we know who you are. We know why you are here. And Mossad have asked us to put you on a plane and send you back to Israel.
The FBI said this?
Yes. So I said to them, well, I need to pack. I need the time. So they said, yeah, we'll come back in 24 hours and pack your stuff and be ready to go to the airport. You and your wife and your daughter. I immediately, through friends that I developed at the time, got a very good immigration lawyer, Sandra Levitt, who was the immigration lawyer at the time. She's retired now. And she said to me, you're a client of mine now. As long as I am applying for papers for you, for visa and for green card and so on, they cannot touch you. If they come back to pick you up, tell them to call me. You are now.
Oh, it must be
avocados.
Jesus.
God, that's never happened
tree
before.
Branch.
We have an avocado tree over there.
Oh.
And it's dropping avocados because it's so windy.
Maybe I should pick them up when I leave.
Scared the shit out of me.
Wow. Okay.
All right, yeah, where were we?
So they came back. And I told them, call the lawyer and gave him the business card, and they called Sandra, and they left me alone. Then they came back about 2-3 weeks later and said, Mr. Aviv, we checked you out. We did our own investigation on you, and we would like to hire you as a consultant to us. Would you work for us?
The FBI?
Yes. So I said, God bless America, of course. I said to him, under one condition. I don't do any work on your behalf against Israel, and I can assure you that I'm not doing any work on behalf of Israel against you, against America. If that is agreeable, I am agreeable to do work. depending on what type of work that you have in mind. They said, well, it's anti-terrorism. We need you as a consultant on anti-terrorism. And for 14 years, I was a full-time consultant to the FBI.
Wow.
As a consultant on anti-terrorism and some other operations against the KGB, against Russia, and so on, that at the time, because they saw that I had the connections in Europe, that I still have capabilities, so they enjoyed that. That relationship stopped at the time when I took on an investigation on behalf of Pan Am Airline.
Okay.
And we don't go into it right now, but we'll talk about it later. That relationship stopped right then because I wrote a report as a finding of my investigation on the Panam Lakabi report that the CIA didn't like, the FBI didn't like, and they canceled our relationship and said, you are
persona non grata.
Persona non grata, you can't work for us anymore. You're probably anti-American because of what you said in the report. So that ended that time. During the time, that 14 years, they didn't have work for me every day because terrorism at the time wasn't really big for the United States.
What years are we talking?
It's late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
So,
real quick.
Yeah.
Can you tell the story of what happened in '75 when you received the picture on your front doorstep?
Yeah. Okay. So going back.
And how far after this, how far after you coming to New York from Israel did this happen?
Yeah, that's when. Once Israel realized, going back now to the time that the FBI came in, and then I said, I'm not going, I have a lawyer now, and I applied for papers. And I also told the FBI, one of the reasons I am agree to work with you, I want you to influence the immigration and give me a visa and legitimately and I want a green card.
Bless you.
Can I get my daily sneeze in?
And they said, absolutely. And in those days, they could have done it. Today, they couldn't give you a green card or arrange for it and so on. If their life depended on it, they couldn't, with the way the environment is now. So in very short time, indeed, I got a green card. I became an American, legitimate citizen in this country. Nobody can touch me. Israel realized they lost the ball. They cannot bring me back now. They can't force me to come back. They moved to Plan B. One night, and this is a few months now that I'm in New York. It's still, the operation in Europe is fresh. I'm paranoid about everything because I saw how easy it was, relatively easy, for us to find those terrorists and kill them in Europe.
You were worried about retaliation?
I was worried about retaliation because I said, members of the families of those deceased would maybe try to avenge it also. And New York, you have to find somebody in New York. It's not as easy, but still, they can do that. So I was really, security and awareness I still has the same issue, and I still maintain the same
paranoia. Really?
Yeah, it will never end and the book came out, the movie came out, of course. So one night, I hear a knock at the door, and I was living in a brownstone on a lower floor, which is against all security guidelines, but I couldn't afford anything else. So
this is when you were still driving the cab.
I'm still driving a cab. So I slowly go to the window to look and I saw a car driving away, but I couldn't read the plates, nothing. I waited a little bit. I thought maybe it was just somebody playing games. Maybe somebody wanted me to come to the door and then they'll shoot me and so on. So I let a few hours pass. Then I slowly opened the door. I saw an envelope pinned to the door, little envelope. take the envelope down, go back. I open the envelope, and I see a picture of my daughter with a target on her face. If you look at me now and you see how much hair I have, I lost that hair that night. It wasn't on the mission. I said, that would be the worst that could happen. I don't care if they kill me, if they go after me,
Right.
I can't defend about my daughter. Then I looked at the picture and said, wait a minute, this is a picture that I took of my daughter. And I made only 3 copies.
Mm-hmm.
One I have, and 2 of them I sent to Israel, to my mother one, and one to my mother-in-law. So I knew right there and then. Somebody intercepted those pictures in Israel, and now I understand who's behind it.
And explain how, when you saw the picture of your daughter and it had the bullseye on it, you didn't perceive that as a direct threat.
Oh, yes. I definitely perceived it as a threat.
As a threat, but my point was, if it was an actual assassin.
Oh, no. It's not the type of threat that an assassin wouldn't send a picture.
Exactly.
With
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
No.
Yeah.
A threat is also a psychological threat.
Yes, right.
They play with your mind.
If they actually wanted to murder one of your family members, they would not drop that thing on you.
When we did the 11 terrorists, we didn't send them pictures. With,
Exactly.
No, of course. Naturally. But it's worse. The psychological part of it is worse. I'd rather somebody just shoot me when I don't know than send me pictures of my daughter with, and then put a psychological threat on me.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided I have to do something about it. For a little money.
Didn't you call your okay?
I'm getting. So I went and bought a cheap camera. And in New York at the time, all the Israeli delegates to the United Nations, resided in one building in Queens.
But wasn't there someone trying to kidnap your daughter before that?
No.
Okay.
So I decided to go to that building, to the parking lot where the kids are playing, and I took pictures of kids of 11 of members of the Israeli embassy, consulate in New York, their daughters, the kids were playing there.
So let me ask you this: how did you know that it was Israel doing this and not some of the Black September?
No. Who had those pictures? Only Israel had it.
Oh, I see. Oh, so that's what gave it away. Okay, I see.
I mean, I assumed, and it made sense, that they would try to do something now to just scare me so much that I would pack my stuff and come back to Israel.
Go back to Israel, right.
Yeah. So I took those pictures, developed them, went to the consulate office in New York, got into the consular office. Poor guy was sitting behind his desk, and I said to him, hear me out. You know who I am. You know what I've been doing for the last, and he didn't, for the last few years. But something happened, and I showed him the picture of my daughter. And I said, now pay attention. I opened my envelope. I put all the pictures that I took in front of him, and his 2 kids were also there.
How old?
Oh, they were all like 6, 7, young kids. All young kids in the age of my daughter. So I said to him, listen carefully. Tell Israel that if anything happens to my daughter, never mind they want to have a fight with me, let's do it. But if anything happened to my wife or my daughter, I will kill all the kids. And you know who I am, and if you don't, find out. And I left the room. He ran after me, said, no, I don't know anything about it, please. I said, I don't know if you know or you don't know. Just send the message to Israel. 2 days later, for a whole year, there were 2 bodyguards, Israeli bodyguards from the embassy, from the consulate, parked in front of my house, taking my daughter to kindergarten, staying there, because I told them, even if it's an accident, I'll assume it's you guys. So you take care, make sure nothing happens to my wife and my daughter. And that was the end of it. Never heard from them again. And after a while, it was disappeared.
Summertime is here, which means everybody suddenly thinks they're a grill master. Burgers and steaks are easy, but the second you try to cook vegetables, shrimp, or fish, everything starts to stick and fall apart, which is why I'm thrilled to be using Hexclad's new barbecue collection. Their barbecue grill pan brings Hexclad's hybrid technology outside, stainless steel searing power, cast iron style durability, and non-stick convenience in one grilling pan. The perforated design lets heat and smoke come through, so you still get the real grilled flavor without sacrificing half your dinner to the fire. What I love the most is the control. It allows me to cook smaller, more delicate foods without having to fight the fire and the grill the whole time. And cleanup is stupid easy. It's Hexclad Ease, but now on the grill. They've also got the barbecue grill topper and barbecue bundle with the grill pan, hybrid cutting board, and carving set. Hexclad is heat safe up to 900 degrees, dishwasher safe, and backed by a lifetime warranty. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off with our exclusive link. Go to hexclad.com/Danny Jones. That's HEXCLAD.com/Danny Jones. Support our show and make sure you let them know we sent you.
Then I decided I need to do something drastic to really get an insurance policy. And I decided to write the book, to write Vengeance, to tell the entire story of Munich. I didn't write it myself. I had a bestseller writer, a Canadian writer, George Jonas, who wrote it, and it became, as I said, a bestseller. And then the movie Munich, based on it, became 7 awards. It got 7.
Oh, yeah.
It was nominated to 7 Oscar awards and so on and so forth. So that event, the movie, and the book put me on the map in America. Suddenly, I became an investigator that everybody wanted to hire because I was gutsy. I will never give up. Nobody can pressure me. Nobody can do things. So I decided to open my business, my private investigating firm called Interfor Inc. I opened the office, myself and part-time secretary in the same address I'm still in today after so many years, in Manhattan. The business grew through the years. I had offices in over 70 countries. I became the world's leader in asset search and recovery, going after to collect debt that everybody gave up on, debts that people thought that they gave up, it can't be found, but large debt. And my average collection on the cases I took on is 86 cents on a dollar. It's unheard of, because if you collected at those days 2 cents, 4 cents, 5 cents, you were a hero. When I started the business grew, and I want to make a statement now that fraud is the largest commodity in America.
Fraud is the largest commodity in America.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Fraudsters make more money by defrauding people, stealing money, embezzling money, than any other Wall Street business that you can imagine. There are over $1 trillion a year of money that's being stolen, embezzled, and people, primarily from banks, insurance companies, and the tragedy behind it is that it's greed. It's all about greed. Banks, once they realize they lost the money, they're embarrassed they lost the investment or the loan they gave out, they just write it off. So if you're a good fraudster, and what I will do for the first time in your show, I will teach your audience how to do a good fraud and don't get caught. Because there is a list of things that you need to do to get away with it.
Okay.
Number one, when you steal big. Don't steal 2 million and 1 million. I'll catch you over breakfast.
Don't go for the cash register, go for the vault.
Do the millions, 100, 200, $1 billion. That makes sense now. And then move the money logistically, globally to few locations. Don't just take the money and open an account in the Cayman Island and think you're safe, or in Switzerland you're safe. No, I'll catch you very quickly also. But you move the money in those you move the money first to the Cayman. From the Cayman, you move the money to Dubai. Then you move it to Singapore. Then to Hong Kong. You moved it enough geographical location, and you are safe, because law enforcement in America, the police, whoever will be assigned to go and investigate it, don't have the budgets and the manpower to travel to all those locations, and they give it up. Right up front, when they realize that it's offshore.
Okay.
So that's tip number 2. And then make sure that I'm not being hired to go after you, because then your luck is over, because I'll catch you. When I started the business, all the cases that came in that fraud detection were in the $2 million, $3 million fraud cases. And I said then, wow, people steal $1 million, $2 million, and a lot of them, most of them get away with it. 5 years later, all the accounts that came in were in the $50 to $100 million. I didn't need to take the $2 million.
What kind of people were hiring you?
Banks, financial institutions, insurance companies, and individuals who lost the money, and they want to find the money. They need the money back. So, and this is internationally now. I get calls from law firms around the world who represent clients who have a debt, and I was recommended to them, and they all come and call me and say, could you take the account and go after that money?
Right.
In the last 10 years, all the cases that we take on as a firm are in the billions per case. People steal billions of dollars, and a lot of them got away with it, because the name of the trick is, once you moved your money, file bankruptcy. Once the opponents know that you're in bankruptcy, they give up. Because they're gonna get it. Because the bankruptcy court has to find it first, and they don't have the budget to do that. They don't have the manpower to do it. They assigned it to a trustee who doesn't have the clue how to go about it. So he confiscates your house and maybe your car, and if you have a watch, he takes your watch away, and that's the end of it. So those people get a penny on a dollar, 3 pennies on a dollar, and that's it. And you hang along. You don't do anything stupid. You don't go and flash money and eat pizza for a year, and don't just show off. People forget about it, and you're free. Then you can enjoy your money. That is what the fraudsters are doing. So fraud became my biggest business. Then came the time where the government came back, but that's a different part of the government, and asked me to come and work for them on special assignments that I call the shadow government. Because it's not the official government anymore that comes and calls me, but the officials in the government, and as high level as possible, including people who are in the White House, and say, there are assignments that we would like you to undertake, that we need deniability, that we need to make sure that if anything goes wrong, we don't know you, and you're crazy, you did it on your own.
So these are high-level White House officials.
High-level White House official, and current and ex, and people who are not anymore there, but now have got together as it's not a club, it's not a cult, but it's a team that has made a decision, and they're all top ex-officials who have retired, but still think that they know what's good for America.
Like Dick Cheney types.
Like Dick Cheney types. And indeed, Dick Cheney was the one who brought me in originally.
Dick Cheney's the one who brought you in originally.
Yeah. To this club. And those assignments are assignments that Congress will never approve, but they think that they know that it's good for America. We need to do them because If you go to Congress, they will never approve it. By the time you'll have a budget for that. By the time they're going to allow you to do that, years will pass. They have no time to lose. They wanted those operations be done now.
Right.
So again, I have taken on some of those assignments in an agreement where I get paid. They have no control of how I do it. If I'm successful, they'll read it in a paper. And if I'm not successful, who cares? That's the agreement, in a way. And all those assignments were very successful, thank God.
So why did Dick Cheney reach out to you?
I was recommended to him. I met him on several occasions privately, and he heard about my past. He knew who I am. So he decided that, and he also saw my activities in the fraud department, how I detect fraudsters, Russian oligarchs, people who stole money all over and hide it, in locations that you never heard of. They found a bank and put it there. And I find the money and I collect it.
So is this what he wanted you to do for
Not
them?
the fraud part,
Okay.
but the special other operations that are political operations.
Okay. Like
And we'll
surprise, kill, vanish type stuff?
I'm sorry?
Like surprise, kill, vanish type stuff? Like
Some of them.
making people disappear?
You make people disappear. Not Americans, not in America, but all abroad, in countries that America is in war with, that is our enemies. And they decided that the way to do it is better than what the Pentagon is doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something to be said about that.
Absolutely.
About surgical
and
strikes.
the only reason I'm
cutting throats in the night.
The
versus
only
dropping
reason that I
bombs.
took on those assignments is because I personally believed in him also. I realized that if we're successful, it will put such a dent on those enemy countries that it maybe will help America, help us quicker to solve
Right.
a relationship.
If you can use
relationship.
intelligence and tactically insert people into certain locations
Right.
to take out the head or the heart of the snake.
That's right.
Versus, insane blunt force trauma of dropping bombs and collateral damage and all that stuff.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
The
that's a
idea
way better.
is
I believe that's a way better way to do it.
I believe in it also. And when I looked, you're not always, now looking back historically, I slowly lose the belief that this always will solve a problem. Because when I took the Munich assignment originally to get this terrorist in Europe, and I said, we'll get rid of all those masterminds of terrorism and who did the Munich and so on, and that will solve the problem. A week later, they hired other people. So that's why I didn't want to continue doing, because there will always be people that Israel now will want to get rid of, which they're doing, but in a different way. Now they're bombing a whole building to kill one of them.
Right.
And they're not doing what we used to do in the past, surgically, one-on-one, and no bystander are hurt. Innocent bystanders are hurt.
Right.
So those were the kind of assignments that I liked because I believed in him. And they're not only assignments of elimination of people, but also verifying where locations are in Iran that they hide nuclear paraphernalia, and where are those scientists developing those bombs. You cannot do it from the air. You can take pictures from now until doomsday. You take a picture of a mountain, and you don't know what's in a mountain. You need people on the ground to go in there, to do all those things that America could not do officially because Congress will not allow it.
Right.
Period. So that became the business I got into in the last 25, 30 years, 25 years, 28 years, and I stayed away from the asset search and recovery. My son took over that part of the business in the office, and he's doing that.
So one more question to the shadow government you're alluding to.
Yep.
They're like essentially this group of people who have been a part of the U.S. elite government, White House, military apparatus for a long time. They still might be current publicly facing, or they might be, quote unquote, retired, however you want to say that.
That's right.
But
exactly.
Essentially, they are the behind the scenes doing whatever they please. And the government that we see publicly facing is all a show, all a show.
They don't know about it.
They don't even know about it.
They don't know about it. They know about it when it's over, when the assignment is over.
Mm-hmm.
But they really don't know, and they don't care because they cannot do it.
Mm-hmm.
You see,
so this is not a democracy, essentially.
No.
But they're doing a good job faking it.
They're doing a great job. But if you look who they are, if you look at the Dick Cheney, Bush Sr., some other people who were ex-CIA people, ex-head of whatever, presidents, and so on, who meet once or twice a month somewhere in a location somewhere and make decisions. They run the real country, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
The official thing that we see in the news every day of the decisions that the Pentagon is doing and the president are doing, it's a lip service. I mean, it's something that you need it also, but they're not really doing what needs to be done. I believe.
Do you think that they can control who becomes president?
At the time, I thought so. At the time, I thought so until Trump was elected. That's when I didn't believe that they did the right. If they were really behind putting presidents in a White House, then they goofed, in my opinion, now badly.
The first, you're talking about 2016, you think that you don't believe that group of shadow government people would have wanted Trump in the White House, is what you're saying?
I think they probably thought it's a cute idea to have somebody who is really from the outside,
right?
Who speaks well, the public loves him, he has a lot of followers.
Right.
Maybe he is a guy who will sit there and really will not do any harm. He will be it's going to be a show. It's going to be a show, a funny show. You have a funny president sitting there making jokes and so on.
There won't be a dull moment.
It won't be a dull moment, so we can do our work quietly behind the scene and nobody will bother us. He will occupy the media and we will behind the scene run America and do what needs to be done. Now, I'm not familiar with the entire group. There are current people who are maybe now in high position, also part of that group. But the people I met were the highest of the highest.
Wow. Did you ever meet George Bush Sr.?
Yes.
What was that like?
They were professionals.
Professionals? Okay.
To my liking.
Okay.
I mean, they dressed well. They behaved like a president. He behaved like, I don't have to agree with everything he said or did and so on. But you want to see somebody who is honest and serious. He would not defraud anybody. He would not take anybody's money. He had, I'm looking for a word.
Integrity?
Cheney was different. Cheney was different. Yeah, Cheney was different. Cheney was Cheney, he shot his friend and he ran away with it. He was, but sharp as you can imagine. Very, very experienced with international events. So they were a very, very it was an honor to be part of that meeting when they were there. You know, I look back where I'm coming from, and it's like...
Let me ask you this. Compared to then, when Cheney brought you in to do some of these operations for them, and compared to where we are now, I don't know how much connection you still have to this group, but do you think they're gaining more power? Or do you think it's the same? Do you think it's less?
The same.
The same. Okay.
It's the same power, different people. Some of the old ones are still there, but I don't see them so often. The new ones. I have less respect for the new ones than I had for the old ones. But maybe it's just because of me and my relationship, because how they were carrying themselves in a meeting, and what they were saying and how they were saying. And they were really careful. They really, really thought it through, every assignment, and why we would need it, and why it should be done. It's not what you see on TV today, when, unfortunately, our president every day says something else.
Right.
I mean, and then he goes to Europe, and he's embarrassing America and embarrassing himself, and he's going against NATO. I mean, we're too busy now fighting the wrong wars internally versus the problems we have legitimately abroad. We have issues with Russia, China, North Korea, Iran that we need a different team, professional team with experience dealing with those problems, and we don't have. The shadow government is a better government right now than them.
Is the shadow government a monolith, or are there different factions of the shadow government with different
No.
agendas?
No. It's one group with one. Whether they have different ideas or different agendas among themselves, I don't know. I mean, I'm not really part of all the meetings. I'm just brought in when I'm getting the assignment, so I meet them. But the way it's been done and carried away is amazing.
Most guys are stuck on the same clothing rotation, same shoes, shirt, and jeans that go with everything. But what really shows who you are is the finish you wear on top. That's where GLD comes in. I wear this massive silver golden necklace. The stonework captures light from every single direction, and the floral details look even better up close. And it's heavy. It's definitely a statement piece, but that's what I like about it. Your outfit doesn't matter when your necklace does all the work. GLD makes chains, pendants, bracelets, and watches around the wide range of styles and price points. They also have official collaborations with the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and NCAA, and way more. With over 2 million customers, 50,000 5-star reviews, and a lifetime guarantee, this is the jewelry that is designed to stay in your rotation. Work hard and change the game. For a limited time only, new customers are getting an insane deal. Use code Danny Jones to get 40% off GLD.com. That's 40% off with the code Danny Jones at GLD.com. After you purchase, they're going to ask where you heard about them, and please support our show and tell them we sent you. You just mentioned China, Russia, Iran. When it comes to external, like other countries, like adversaries or quote unquote allies, who do they think and who do you think are the biggest threats to the United States from the shadow government's perspective? We'll start with that.
See, the shadow government is, for example, let's take the situation today, the current situation that we are in with this type of war that we're involved in.
Yeah, the Iran war.
Shadow government's point of view is that Netanyahu took advantage of Trump, that he tried, and they should know better because some of them were there at the time when Netanyahu tried to convince other presidents to do the war against Iran, and they refused to do it. They realized that this is something that you don't start if you don't know how you finish it and how you get out of it.
Right.
And Iran is not just an enemy who's going to just fall apart in 5 minutes and you can have a victory. And it was Netanyahu's dream for as long as he was a prime minister, even before, to punish Iran for something that I don't know, but he was convinced that if Iran get a nuclear bomb, they will use it against Israel. That was his thought. Whether it's true or not, we don't know. Personally, I don't believe that they would, even if they had one, they would have used it against Israel.
Right.
Because Israel is a nuclear country and has many more bombs than the one bomb that they can develop in Iran, and they would destroy Iran. That's the end. So,
yeah, it doesn't seem, just from recent history, going back to when Trump bombed Soleimani.
Oh yeah,
that they're an unhinged, unreasonable.
They're not. They're smart.
Right.
Smarter than what the media is portrayed them here.
Right.
And the media is playing the game also and portray them as like, peasants who don't even know how to read and write and so on. No, they're
because when we killed Soleimani, they literally did nothing.
Nothing, because it's all calculated. They realized we can replace Soleimani. We don't want to create a big war. And the shadow government convinced that Netanyahu, which is true, in my opinion too, he said, I found a president finally who will do it. He flew to New York and met with Trump several times and convinced him to start this war.
Yeah.
Now,
it's kind of funny how many times he's
why did they both need a war? They both personally have some problems, personal problems. Netanyahu has his own legal issues that if his court case is going to see light in Israel and be finished, he's going to be in jail for embezzlement, for taking a lot of money and doing a lot of things. And his life depends on the unrest right now in the Middle East that is constantly, he has to stop the trial. He can't appear because he's busy with the war.
Right.
And the trial is now how many years and not going anywhere. And Trump has his own issues internally with Lewinsky, with Epstein and so on. So they both needed a war. And something big that would preoccupy the media and the public. They got together and they got it. Now they're both stuck with it. They don't know how to stop it, which was predicted before. And the shadow government was warning against it, was trying behind the scene to convince the right people in the government, in Congress, in Senate, don't allow it to happen. Don't allow to have a war. Don't push, but it was too late. Too late, because Trump apparently is so convincing to his followers that whatever he touches will be a miracle and solve things. And now everybody's facing the truth that he really doesn't have the answers. He doesn't know how to stop it. Same with Netanyahu.
From your perspective, how much of a threat do you think Iran is to the United States?
To the United States, zero. We're so far away from the United States, from Iran, that if we wouldn't have started the war and the Strait of Hormuz would be open, we had no real war with Iran. We had no war with Iran. They were not a threat to the United States.
And what do you make of all the claims?
A threat to Israel, yes. They had Hezbollah, they had Hamas, they're financing, they're instigating those other groups against Israel. So Netanyahu had a better reason why he needed something to happen there than Trump.
Right.
But Trump went along with it.
Now, the narrative has changed in the United States government about the Iran war. They first said it was regime change. Now it's like they can't have a nuke. And the goalpost keeps moving. And at one point, I think even Marco Rubio said on live TV that we had to do it because Israel struck first. And we knew that they were going to retaliate, so we had to step in and help. And then they came back and they walked it back later. So
of course, it's all
the narrative. They're completely fucking up the narrative. But how realistic? We've seen the videos of Netanyahu pounding the drums about, oh my God, they're 1 week away. They're 1 week away since the 90s.
He is. Now it's my opinion, but I'm going to say it's my opinion. Netanyahu is more danger than Trump because he's smarter than Trump. Netanyahu is a smart, shrewd individual. MIT graduate, a very shrewd an experienced demagogue. Trump is not. Not in education, not in understanding of Middle East affairs. If you have asked Trump, where is Iran on the map before he started, I'm not sure he would have known where it is. He would, I mean...
That's funny.
Yeah, and Netanyahu took advantage of it. I mean, I'm not saying something that it's not so obvious. It's obvious.
Right.
It's so obvious that that's the truth, and it's unfortunately the truth because it's backfiring on everything that we believe in. The relationship of America and Israel is ruined. Anti-Semitism is growing worldwide because of all those moves. And all those things that I never thought I will see in my lifetime are now happening in a very short time.
So I had John Kiriakou on the podcast recently, and he was CIA operations and analyst on counterterrorism.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, for many years, and he whistleblew on the torture program, went to prison for a couple of years, came out, wrote a bunch of books. Now he's super popular.
Yeah.
He was telling me that there was something called I believe it was called a national intelligence assessment on Iran, 2 of them, over the last 15 years. And he said what happens there is the head of all, 17 or 18 intelligence agencies inside the United States, the head of each one of those 18 intelligence agencies, they go to their agency, they said, give me a full assessment on what you believe. Does Iran have a nuclear program or no?
Yes.
And each one of the agencies did the reports, gave it to the top, the head of the agency. The head of each agency came to a round table, and he said it was unanimous between all of them that they did not believe they had a nuclear program in Iran.
Exactly. They had, I can tell you because I studied it myself. One of my operations is studying Iran's nuclear capabilities and who's behind it and who is currently pushing it and where is it being pushed and so on and so forth. Like every country who is in a war, and they thought that they're in war with Israel, and Israel has nuclear officially, we all know that.
Right.
They admitted on it. They decided at one point that it would be good to have one too. But they were years away from developing seriously. They started developing capabilities and equipment and centrifuges and so on and so forth. But they were not a threat eligible. Now, by the time you have a bomb, you also need something to carry the bomb to wherever you target the bomb.
Right, an ICBM or something.
You need ICBMs, you need missiles, there's a lot going on. And the more components that you rely on and need to make it happen, you open up to intelligence and people who know,
Right.
oh, you're getting closer because now you have the missile, now you have the other part, and so on and so forth. So if you took all those parts that are needed for a crude bomb, one bomb to send to Israel, they were far away from it. They were working on those little things, but they were not close.
Do you believe how they say that who was the leader of Iran that they killed like day one? I forgot. I can't remember his name. Anyways, he was like the head religious leader of the country.
Yeah.
They killed him instantly, or him and a bunch of his family members died. And the story is that he had some sort of a religious declaration that it was part of their religious, whatever you call it, their commandments to not create a nuke.
Yes.
Do you believe that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Not to use nuke. Not to create and not to use.
Not to create and not to use.
Because that he saw it. Even he, how crazy he was and religious fanatic was, realized that is something that will be the end of Iran. That Iran will not survive standing one bomb and throw it on Israel and get away with it.
Right. It would be suicide, right?
That's right. Even he knew that. But when they lecture, when they talk, when they preach to their followers, they have to be tough. Oh yeah, we're gonna have bombs coming up, and we're gonna throw them all over, and so on and so forth. Listen, Trump is saying things on a daily basis that he cannot follow up on,
Right.
that he cannot make happen. All leaders are doing it. And Netanyahu was a master of creating a story about why we need to attack Iran immediately. And the reason immediately was his trial was getting developed and
Right.
so on. And he wanted to be there. His life dream was to make an attack on Iran. And he wanted it to happen. You know, if the trial is over, he's gone. That's it. And whoever going to become the new prime minister will not attack Iran and crazy stuff about nuclear. He knew that. So there were two people who had personal issues, personal agenda, who got together, and the war happens. And now, I don't know how we're going to get out of it.
How much influence do you think Netanyahu or the Israeli government or Israeli billionaires have over American politicians in particular?
It's Netanyahu. It's not the Israeli government. Well, there's few people in the government who would say yes to anything that Netanyahu says, as Trump has his own cronies in the government
Right.
who will echo him and copy him and so on. And nobody will dare saying to him, hey, are you crazy? This is not a good idea. No one today in the White House would dare to come to a meeting and tell Mr. President, you're wrong. This is not to be, we don't think you should do that. So, same thing in Israel with Netanyahu. So it's Netanyahu, and it's actually Netanyahu who makes all the decisions. And he is the one who controls Trump. Period.
How? How does he control Trump, do you think?
Well, he got Trump to join this war, and now he's compromised. Now Trump needs Netanyahu to maybe help him finish this war, because he doesn't know how to do it not militarily. Militarily, you can bomb Iran from now until doomsday. They don't care if millions of people are dying. The regime over there doesn't care if million people will die for the cause of this war.
Well, it's disrupting the whole world economy, not to our favor, and they're bombing our allies, and we can't even protect our own allies.
You got it. And
It's
slowly we're going to
terrible.
lose some, as we just lost yesterday too, or the day before yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to lose more people. It's a war. Eventually, we're going to use more. So both of them are stuck now. Even Netanyahu has admitted to people that I know who are close and friends that he doesn't think he made the right choice.
Netanyahu.
But he would never officially admit it. He can't. It's the ego sickness of both Netanyahu and Trump.
So why is Trump, in your opinion, we got from Trump, who we could run tape of Trump from now till next Friday saying how stupid a Middle East war, another forever Middle East war would be, or another war with Iran. He's tweeted against Obama, Biden, all these presidents, saying how stupid and weak they were, and watch, it's going to prove how weak they are when they try to invade Iran. And now he's doing a complete 180. Why do you think he's the first president to do this?
I have no idea. It's because of him, his personality.
How was Netanyahu able to convince him to do it?
Very easy. He read Trump's book, as we say. He read his book. He knows how he operates. He knows he needs to be flattered, ego. He knows that he has to play on his ego. And if he comes into the White House and tells the president, listen, you're going to be the hero. You and us, we're going to bomb the shit out of Iran for 2-3 days. We're going to change the regime. The people are going to come out and demonstrate and take over, and there's going to be a place in heaven. You're going to be there later on building the whole place up. You're going to have Trump towers all over Tehran. You're going to have golf courses all over the region. This is going to be you're gonna get the Nobel Prize just for that. That was music to Trump's ear, and we all know that. Whoever flatters him today gets his ear. No one around him in the White House thought it was a great idea. Even his vice president said, I don't think we should do it. But then he was afraid to continue in pushing not to do that. And he said, well, that's my opinion, but if you decide you want to do it, Mr. President, I will back you
I
up.
hear you. I hear you.
And that was
I know he
Netanyahu. That what Netanyahu figured out quickly after visiting with Trump a few times. I need to flatter him, I need to build him up, and he will come and do the job. Once he starts, he cannot stop. You see, Netanyahu even said, we need to get America to throw the first bomb. Once they throw the first bomb, they cannot stop.
I hear you. And I agree with you. He likes to be buttered up. But I don't think that's enough to get him to do that.
To do what?
To do a war with Iran.
You don't think that was enough to get him?
I don't know if I believe that is enough to convince him to do that. To sell him this idea, it's going to be great. You're going to save America. You're going to go down in history as a hero.
Then that's the first time that I will tell you, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong, and I'll tell you why. Because Netanyahu is not just sitting there and say, oh, you're going to be great and so on. Netanyahu is shrewd. He brings in maps. He brings in photos. He brings in stuff that Mossad put together for him, paraphernalia, to show him, you see that little shadow over there? That's where the stuff is. If we need to get in there, and Trump, what does he know? He doesn't call the head of the CIA and his intelligence advisors and say, come guys, look at the map, what do you think? He never does it. He never asks anyone in the White House for opinion. It's his decisions. And when Netanyahu is a convincing person, I'm telling you, this guy is a mega convincing phenomena.
Right.
When he comes in and he start working on you, you'll do anything he tells you. Because he's playing you and looking at your eyes, constantly talking and looking and see what else is missing. Are you convinced?
Juval, there's no leverage. Do you believe? Well, what's the leverage here? What's this where's the invisible hand that we're not seeing?
Okay, the invisible hand is that he also has. Netanyahu also had Epstein in his pocket. Epstein and Netanyahu worked together. Epstein was a Mossad spy in certain degrees. And I know it because I wrote a book about it. I wrote Max, which is part of what we're going to talk maybe about. So he had enough. Let's leave it by me saying he has enough blackmail material on Trump that he didn't need to use, but he has it if he needs it regarding Epstein and the whole Epstein idea.
Okay, so let's rewind and explain to the audience how you originally met Ghislaine Maxwell.
Okay. I had an office in New York, in London. I had offices all over the world for my business, for the Interfor business, for my private investigating firm. At one point, I had a front store, an antique store in the middle of London. That was my office. And the store was a pretext of some stuff that we were involved in.
Oh, wow.
And I was like selling antiques, but I was not selling the antiques.
Right.
And I had real unbelievable antiques that I got. By the way, I wish I sold them. The reason I needed the antique store is because when you have an antique store, you have a warehouse, a big warehouse, to keep the merchandise until you bring them to the store.
Right.
And in that warehouse, we kept a lot of stuff in concealed concealed components of the antiques furniture. drawers that nobody knew existed, and there was stuff in it, and so on and so forth. So I'm sitting in my office in a showroom, and I'm thinking about doing some operations. Suddenly I look, and a young, attractive, very attractive girl walks into, start looking around the antique, and I realize she's not really interested in the antique, but she's just walking around pretending she's interested. Then she approached me, and she said, can I talk to you privately, please? And I said, yes. And I had the brownstone. The store was downstairs, and my apartment was upstairs. Apartment and office was upstairs on the second floor. So I go up with her to the second floor, and she says, Mr. Aviv, I know who you are. I know about your background. I would like to hire you. And I said, who are you? She says, I'm Ghislaine Maxwell. You know my father, Mr. Maxwell. He told me all about you. He told you he knows all about you from his day in the Mossad. That was her words. I said, well, what would you like me to do for you? I'm not doing anything else but selling antiques. She said, I would like to hire you as an investigator. I would like you to investigate who killed my father. And as you know, it's in the press, my father embezzled over $650 million of the pension funds of all the publications that my father owned in England and in the US. He was the biggest media tycoon in Europe at the time, rival to Fox News.
Murdoch.
Murdoch, yeah. The biggest rival of Murdoch. They were both right. And he was on his yacht in the Mediterranean. The story was that he had a heart attack and fell off board and drowned.
While taking a leak off the side of the yacht, right?
That's right, which we'll get to. That was his his nightly routines. So he said, I'd like to find the money, where the money is, because I need to return it to the pensioners who lost everything. And I need to find out who killed my father. I said, well, it's the first time that I understand that your father, now that you're claiming that he was killed, but I'm really not in the business anymore. I'm not an investigator anymore. She said, well, I'm going to leave you my card, and I know that you are going to want to do this case. Why don't you study that idea and call me in a week and tell me whether you take on the case or not? And she leaves. I looked at the case. And
why did you tell her that? Why did you tell her that you don't do it anymore?
Yeah, because I didn't want to get involved in a political, I realized it's politics.
I see.
And what happened to him, and I wasn't sure, and so on. So I wanted just to gain time. And I said to her before she left, if I take the investigation, I want you to know, I will need 2-3 weeks to study it on my own before I even accept it or not. If I decide that I cannot help you because there's nothing there to find, I don't want to take any money from you, I don't want to work for you, I will only take it if I can bring value to the table. If I know that I can really collect some money for you or find out who killed your father, I'll take on this case. And off she went. I called my office, my research department, and I have one of the largest research departments in the industry. We're subscribed to thousands of databases worldwide, and a lot of them connected to law enforcement agencies and so on. And I said, do your homework about Robert Maxwell. What happened to him? And tell me what's in public domain. What was written about and so on.
Right.
Because the press all over the world was a topic of the day, as we say, in the US and in Europe and so on.
1991, was it?
And he came back, the team came back and said to me, well, this is what we found. His body was found 16 miles away from the boat. He fell into the water. There was current, a lot of current, strong current in the Mediterranean at the time, and his body was surfing somewhere about 16 miles from the boat. That's my number one. The structure of the boat is such, his bedroom was on the top, which the boat looks like a small pyramid.
Can you find a picture of the Lady Ghislaine yacht?
And on top of it, even if you had a heart attack and you were standing at the rail on the top part of it, where the bedroom is, if you fell, you only would fall into the lower level, and then there's another level before you reach the water.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way you can die.
That's not it.
No.
Oh, that's a dancing hair. Why? What the fuck?
No.
Lady Ghislaine.
Far right, top right.
There. Okay.
That's the boat, right?
That's a boat, but the angle is not good. We need a side angle.
Find another good angle of it.
Is this this is the make? It's the same model.
Yeah, that's the same boat. That
Okay,
looks like
okay.
it.
If you go up to the top level,
Mm-hmm.
you can see that. You don't see it from here also, that the top level is narrower than the other tops downstairs.
Right, it gets wider towards the bottom of it.
Yeah. So if you fell from the top, you don't fall into the water. You fall into the lower level, and then there are two more levels before you reach the water.
And so I always thought the story was he was standing on the transom on the back of the boat,
No.
on the bottom level, pissing off of it.
No. He wasn't in his bed. He never went down there.
He was up in his bed.
In his bed, in his bedroom.
Oh.
And yes.
The plot thickens.
Yes. So, when I saw that, I saw the picture, not that, but similar picture, and I said, he didn't fall off. He have been pushed
Look at that
off.
one, yeah.
Yeah, he has been pushed off. You see, it's on the top.
Yeah.
Okay. So, then we found out that the banks that he borrowed the money from prior to the embezzlement and so on were chasing him. He owed millions of dollars because he bought publications for a lot of money that didn't make money. He was an egomaniac who wanted to have an empire of publications. So he would pay for publications that nobody wanted and nobody cared about,
Right.
millions of dollars, and then lost money and owed the banks money.
Right.
So he was under investigation for the embezzlement, and by the US government and by the British government, because there were both pension funds in America and pension funds in England that he stole the money from. And he was about to come to testify in the US and in England, had to come to court to testify because he was sued by the governments for embezzlement. So one of the theory was that he committed suicide because he didn't want to take on those trials. He knew he's not going to win, and his ego wouldn't allow him to even tell the truth about it. So I realized that indeed there's a story that hasn't been told here. Then I read the news that what happened to him, his body was found, was whisked to the Canarian Island. No autopsy was made in the Canary Island, and the government of Israel came and picked him up and flew him to Israel right away, the body. No autopsy was made in Israel because his wife sued for the autopsy and never got it.
Oh, wow.
And the body was buried in Jerusalem in the most holiest
The Mount of Olives, right?
Mount of Olives. It's a cemetery that only presidents and heads of Mossad or whatever are buried there. No foreigner would be buried there.
Right.
So I said to myself, what did he do to Israel to earn him, to whisk him right away from, without an autopsy and burying him over there? Then there were press releases about the funeral. Every leading member of the Israeli government going back 100 years, if they're still alive, came to the funeral.
Wow.
All the heads of Mossad and everyone. There were never so many dignitaries at one point in one place, which is against security, for a funeral for somebody nobody knows about. What did he do for Israel? All we knew he owned 2 Israeli small newspapers that nobody ever read, and a soccer team that was playing in the 4th league and 5th league and whatever. So that was officially what he's done for Israel. There must be a story behind it. So I said, I'm going to take it on. I'm curious and interested in it. So I called her back to the office and I said, I'll take it on. She said, I know you will. I said to her, but I have 2 questions for you. One, when we did the research, there was a lot of fingerprints that were alike, that I looked at what he was doing financially and how he was presumably hiding his money that he stole and so on. I said, the fingerprints as an investigator now, as a financial investigator, shows me that he was using somebody else as an expert to hide money to help him. He didn't have the knowledge to do what he did. And the fingerprints that look most like somebody that I have investigated in the past, that have used the same type of mechanism to hide the money, was Epstein. And I said to myself, it would be curious if they both worked together.
So you knew about Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, before Robert Maxwell was dead?
I investigated him on behalf of a client.
A client?
Yes, a financial client that Epstein laundered his money. Laundered his money. And then when he came to ask for some of the money, Epstein told him, I don't know you. I don't know. You never gave me money.
So Epstein stole it from him.
Yeah. So he decided.
What year roughly was this? Early 80s, mid 80s?
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah. Wow. So now I said, aha, bingo, I want this case. Because it looked. So I said to her, blank, I looked at her face, and I said, tell me, did your father ever worked with Epstein in New York? And she got red in her face. She was shattered. I said, what's the matter? She said, well, yes, my father worked with Epstein. I don't want you to investigate that. That is one area I don't want you to look into. This is not what I'm hiring you to. And he said, there's also another reason why I don't want you to do that. And I said, what's that? She said, well, I have a personal relationship with Epstein. We have a relationship. I said, say no more. Now I understand. It's no problem. You just admitted what I needed to know. And I took on the case and did the investigation and wrote a book about it called Manx.
So you had met Robert Maxwell?
I met him, and then I met his family. I met his butler. I met the crew of the boat, and they allowed me to go and inspect the boat. That was part of the arrangement I had with Ghislaine. You make arrangements for me before the boat is being sold, that I will have an access to the boat. I want to go and examine the boat, his bedroom, and so on and so forth.
How long before he died did you meet him? How did you meet him?
2-3 years before.
What was that about? What were you guys doing?
I met him through a client who was trying. He bought a newspaper for a client, my client, and never paid him for the newspaper. So I was supposed to go and meet with Maxwell and say, listen, he's desperate for the money. His wife is sick. Could you pay him? And so on. Just to negotiate a settlement before we go after him. So I met him. He was charming, beyond charming. He took me out to dinner, and I met him 2-3 times after it for dinners too. And I met him in New York when he came to New York. So we became buddies for a while. Maxwell, we weren't friends, but and he paid the guy little money. Didn't pay him for the newspaper. Sent him some money. Just because I really begged him to do that. It's the right thing to do. And I jokingly said, you can defraud other people, but not this poor guy. This is a small timer. You do the big ones, leave him alone.
Wow.
And he was laughing. He had humor. He had humor.
He had chutzpah.
Oh, he had mega chutzpah. Then I found out when I investigated that he was a Mossad agent. He worked for 5...
You learned this after he died?
After he died.
After he died.
Yeah. He worked as an official agent, in a way, of 5 intelligence agencies. The Mossad, MI6, CIA, KGB, the biggest one, and the German intelligence.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Now, none of them knew of each other. None of them, except later on, much later, I found out that Mossad knew what he was playing, and they used him to send false information to the other agencies because he became a tool. He was so good at what he was doing, it's beyond, because he was a charmer. He could charm your pants off. I mean, it's beyond.
That's very
funny.
interesting because that's what a lot of people say about Jeffrey Epstein as well.
And they were matched for heaven. They both became the most sophisticated money launderers at the time for individuals who needed to hide money from ex-wives, from the tax authorities, from anything. They laundered money for African leaders, for European leaders, from businesses on Wall Street. Anybody who had, the rule of thumb was you needed to launder 50 million and up. They wouldn't take cases smaller than 50 million.
Mm-hmm.
And people were lining up for them to do it.
Wow.
How did Epstein lure a lot of those people before the money situation? With girls. He trafficked girls for them. And if you look back, there were all the people that we know, that I know, that were clients of his. They're all older, famous, very famous people who, well, if their life depended on it, they couldn't go to bed with a young girl because no young girl will go to bed with them.
Right.
But Epstein made it happen. So that was an incentive, an additional incentive for them to meet with Epstein. That's how he lured them in with the girls. And then he took their money.
As I've gotten older, I've become a lot more selective of the things I put in my body every day. I'm very active and I do lots of stuff outside in this hot Florida heat. I take creatine every single day because it helps me with strength, recovery, and brain performance when it matters most. And that's why Momentous has created signature spec creatine, and I've been loving it. It's manufactured in a pharmaceutical facility using reverse osmosis water, then verified through an expanded 6-stage testing process with 4 independent agencies. That means 10 times fewer impurities, tighter heavy metal limits, and screening for PFAs and microplastics. I've been mixing it into my water every morning as part of my daily routine. Its ultra-fine powder dissolves super easily with no clumping or grit. And I love knowing that their product is tested way beyond the usual industry standard. That's the Momentous standard, improving the creatine itself, not just dressing up the packaging. If you want to try Momentous Signature Spec Creatine, head on over to livemomentous.com and use the code Danny for up to 35% off your entire first order. That's spelled LIVEMOMENTOUS.com. Promo code Danny for up to 35% off. LiveMomentous.com, promo code Danny. How did Epstein and Maxwell, Robert Maxwell, meet?
I'm not sure, but I think that Ghislaine was the one who introduced. Ghislaine went to New York and for visits, and she liked parties, discotheques, and so on and so forth. She met him and Trump one evening in one of those events that early. And he realized who she is and who her father is. I'm talking about Epstein.
Yep.
And he started courting her. Now, she was too old for him. But he gave the intention. He gave her the idea that he maybe wants to marry her, and she fell for it. She really fell for it, and then it really became much stronger after her father died. She needed like a father type, somebody to replace her father. So that relationship grew during all those events, and that's where Trump was on the scene also. So those were the days of the big parties with girls and the big money laundering days. And all of them were involved in it. And I say no more.
So I have so many questions bouncing around in my head right now.
I'm sure.
So what was your official conclusion of, did you already say this, of how Robert was killed?
Oh, no. I know how he was killed because I know how he was. I know who killed him.
I'm assuming it was the Mossad.
Yeah. He was killed because he did an operation. Well, I said it in a book, so I can talk about it now. Mm-hmm. The Russian regime, the Communist Party, realized at one point that their days are numbered. Russia, the communism will not succeed. Gorbachev will come, it was rising and so on. Mm-hmm. And they made a decision, the Russian Communist Party at the time, which was headed by the KGB in a way. We need to make sure that if we need to go and disappear for a while and go into exile and leave Russia, we were forced by the public to leave Russia. We need to have enough funding one day to come back. Because they looked historically, any leader who left the country because he was forced to leave never could come back because they never had enough money to come back.
Right.
The Shah of Iran couldn't come back because he lost his money and fortune and so on. And they saw that. They decided they are going to move the entire gold treasure of Russia and place it somewhere offshore, somewhere in the world, for them to use to come back later on. They need, you're not talking about some little suitcase. You're talking about boats and planes full of gold that needed to be placed somewhere. There's no bank that will take that kind of a gold. They have no facilities to hold it. It's bigger than Fort Knox. Russia had trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars worth of gold. Wow. It was known, it was the United Nations every year did statistics about gold of every country, and they were number one always. Who is going to move it out and where they're going to put it? Maxwell. He is the guy who's going to help them. They made a decision because he was so close to them, and he was one of them. He was one of the spies, Russian spy. He came and said, of course I can help you guys. You allow me, I will find a place to keep it. And the best place to keep it in Israel. Israel is a nuclear country. Nobody will come and take it from them. Most of the members of the Knesset, Israeli parliament, Israeli thing, originally came from Poland and Russia. And you guys, Russia, you have a collateral that you keep. You have the Jewish population in Russia that wants to immigrate to Israel. You have them hostage. You don't let them go. As long as you keep those Jews in Russia, you have a good bargaining point with Israel to get your gold back. Israel will never, they'll have to give it back to you. So for 7 or 8 months, boats for going from Odessa to Haifa was moving this gold to Israel. And it was placed in a place in Israel that is secure. And what he did wrong, he was so desperate, Maxwell, using his boats, he hired the boats, he hired the planes that took it. I interviewed the captains of all, I did.
Really?
Yeah, I have the whole investigation. I knew when the dates, the times, and so on. I had it. And he couldn't resist because he was so desperate to money. He started dipping into the shipments. The boat would stop during the move from Odessa to Tel Aviv in the Mediterranean. They would stop. Another boat would come in. He would unload some gold and take it for himself. And then he starts selling the gold in Switzerland to banks and financial institutions. And at the time when he did that, the gold prices went down dramatically because the market was flooded with gold. And I documented all of it, the dates and time and so on. So you can see exactly when. And now the gold was there, it was safe and so on. And the Berlin Wall fell, and Communist Party was over, Gorbachev took over, and the day the Berlin Wall fell, all the Jews started immigrating out of Russia. The collateral was gone dramatically. They had very few Jews stayed there. So now they're stuck. The new government in Russia knew the gold is in Israel, but we cannot talk about it because we now are asking for major loans from the world's banks, from the IMF, from everybody, and as a collateral for the loans, we're pledging the gold that we don't have.
Right. It's supposed to be secret.
Yeah. If they will find out, the banks, they will not loan us money.
Right.
So it was in their interest now to keep the secret. It was Israel's interest to keep the secret that they have the gold. And Maxwell kept his secret because he got money out of it.
Right.
But then he spent that money, he owed more money, he got desperate. And at one point, he joined a party in Morocco, a birthday party that was done very famous.
A what? A birthday party?
Yeah. He orchestrated, he put it together, a birthday party for Hearst.
Randolph Hearst?
I think Randolph Hearst. And at that party, he invited Elizabeth Taylor as his guest. She attended, and they did it in Morocco in a big tent, and everybody has to be dressed like Arab sheiks, and he came in dressed like an Arab sheik, and there were belly dancers and so on and so forth. And now he's sitting there and getting drunk, as he did in the end very much. And sitting next to him, unbeknownst to him, was the head of the Mossad in Morocco, who was invited to the party also.
And Maxwell was not aware.
No, he didn't know him. He didn't know him. He wasn't aware of it. And he started talking to him. He knew that he was an Israeli by the accent. He said, "Oh, you're Israeli." He said, "By the way, I want you to know, Israel is now the richest country in the world. I made Israel the richest country in the world." And the guy said, he didn't know about it. The head of Mossad didn't know it. And head of Mossad in Morocco. It's just the Morocco attaché.
Sure.
So when he went home that night, he called Israel and said, "Listen, this guy is saying that the Russian gold, he made Israel rich. It's in Israel." Israel's alarm went up. This guy's blubbering now, uncontrollable. He's drunk. He's saying things. And the rest is history.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Well, I can say all of it because it's in my book that was published. So my book is Max. It was published, became a bestseller. And
is that gold still in Israel today?
I don't know. Maybe.
Let's pause. I have to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
And I got to think through this. This is so much information. All right. I'm going to go to the bathroom. We'll be right back. Correction, the birthday party that you went to was not William Randolph Hearst. It was Malcolm Forbes' birthday party.
Forbes, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Who was the creator of Forbes magazine, I'm assuming.
Of course.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So at any point, did you ever rub shoulders with or meet Epstein?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. I met him once or twice for a long period, for dinner. And then I met with him several times, just on the street. I saw him, "Hey, how are you?" and so on. Yeah, no, we were never friends, or I never I wasn't considering him a friend.
Right.
Let's say that.
What was like the context with you when you met him for a dinner? Was it just like a big dinner party or something? Or?
No, but he wanted to know about. See, he heard about me being an investigator for asset search and recovery, and how successful I am piercing through all kind of vehicles that people use to hide money offshore. Mm-hmm. So he was fascinated by it, and he wanted to ask me question about, what do you mean? How do you do your work? When I said, I jokingly, I said, you have to hire me.
Right.
Then I'll tell you how I do my work, and jokingly, which I'll never do, because I knew that he was a money launderer.
Right.
So I didn't even fall into it. So he initiated the lunch, the meeting in New York, and I don't know if I should say that. He was a teacher.
Yeah.
At
Dalton?
At Dalton.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter went to Dalton.
What?
And she was a student at the time when he was there. Thank God he didn't.
No.
Thank God for him. Otherwise, I would kill him.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind somebody else killed him, but I would kill him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's small world. Small world.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's been lots of people who have reported, in particular people who've worked for Epstein, who have reported, specifically there's one case in the investigative podcast that Tara Palmieri did on Epstein, where she interviewed, I believe it was a chef who worked in his Manhattan house.
Mm-hmm. Yes, known, yes.
And she interviewed him, and he was talking about, like Jeffrey was always rich. He was always, had millions of dollars. But in the 90s, early 90s, he became mega rich.
Right.
Where it went from like hundreds of millions to billions.
That's right.
And
that part is right. The prior is not.
It seems to line up with the death of Robert Maxwell.
Yeah.
So the speculation is, did Epstein get a bunch of money from Maxwell when he died?
Not only from him, but both of them generated more from other people that Maxwell introduced. See, Maxwell was connected in Europe. Ghislaine was a celebrity in Europe. That's how she brought in the King of England's brother into the picture and so on. She was involved with all those guys, and Epstein needed more famous people to be associated with, so he can say, well, I make money, I'm rich. Trump adopted the same story that he was doing. I'm rich, I have money, I don't need anybody's money, I can finance my own stuff and finance everything, I don't need anybody's money. Mm-hmm. When he was a teacher at Dalton, he didn't have money. He didn't come from money, he didn't have money. He had decent money, he wasn't poor, but he didn't have millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. He suddenly became a millionaire when Ghislaine and Maxwell came into his life.
Right. And so how did he get connected to the Rothschilds through Maxwell?
Yeah. Yeah, to all those people in Europe. See, if you go into the history of Maxwell, he had the same type of operation that Epstein had in America. He had in Hungary. He had in Bulgaria. He had because his parents came from Hungary and Bulgaria, and this is where he came from originally.
Right.
So during the war, so he became a celebrity. And, he was a member of the parliament in England. Maxwell.
Who? Maxwell. Okay. Yeah. Right.
So he had all those contacts that Epstein didn't have. That's why they needed both. And Maxwell needed Epstein because Epstein knew how to hide money. Mm-hmm. He learned it. Now, how did Epstein learn how to hide money? This is really by finding my biggest coup during the investigation. There were three lawyers in this country who became the most famous, notorious asset protection lawyers. There is a legal term, asset protection. You want to protect your assets from potential lawsuits, from potential whatever. So they became a person that you come in, you give them your money, they develop a vehicle, legal vehicle to hide the money, open the bank accounts offshore wherever they develop this place, and then hand you a turnkey and say, here, this is the account, we opened it for you, the money is in it, you own your own kid now. What they didn't tell those individuals that they hired the money for them, that they made arrangements with the banks that they hid the money in, that they get a commission from the bank for bringing those big deposits. So they got from the bank 7% of all the monies that they brought in to the bank as a finder's fee. Plus, they got 10% from you for hiding your money.
Oh, wow. They're skimming from both sides.
Yes. They became trillionaires. One, the most notorious of them, was in Denver, Colorado. There was one in Oklahoma City and one in Florida. The top guy was the guy in Colorado, and I befriended him.
Do we know his name?
Of course, I was a friend of his.
Can we say it?
Yeah, Barry Engel.
Okay.
Barry Engel was he's dead now. He died a few years ago. Barry Engel wrote books about asset protection. The government, the Treasury, the IRS were after him for years to find out who are the names of the people that he helped hiding money for and so on. He wrote the Constitution of the one of the islands. Cook Island.
Cook
Island.
Okay.
Cook Island is a place where people hide money.
Okay.
That is known. It's a small place. There's no banks there. There's no nothing. There's an old lady sitting with a laptop on a beach, and she is the bank. And you have to go through her to find where the money is.
Where is this island on a map?
Cook Island is...
This one? French Polynesia?
No.
Cook Islands.
That's like in the middle of
halfway between Australia and South America?
Yeah.
It's like on the dividing
wow.
line of the Pacific.
It's in the Pacific.
Okay.
Cook Island.
Got it. Somewhere near Tahiti.
Yeah. So he wrote their constitution, and he designed it in such a way that he knew exactly how to hide money. Now, the vehicle that he created to hide the money was in the Cook Island. The banks were not there. The money wasn't there. The money was in Switzerland in two banks that he had the relationship that he can get the kickback. So there's another layer of security. You had to go through the old lady on the beach in Cook Island to find out the name of the account and where the account is, which you couldn't. And then you had to go to Switzerland and pierce through all the Swiss laws, protection laws of banking laws in Switzerland. So those were impossible to do. You needed to know, which I found out later, how to do it. So I was the king. Why was I so famous for asset search and recovery? Because I had a method. Everyone who wanted to hide money over 10, 15, 20, $50 million ended with one of those three people who hide money, asset protection money, those lawyers. The word of the mouth, you have money, you want to hide money, go to Barry Engel in Colorado, he'll hire your money, hide your money. And he claimed that it was done legitimately. That's why the IRS couldn't go after him, ever. He said, I will open an account for you, and you put the first money you put into the account is money that you earned and you paid taxes on. In other words, it's money that you pay taxes, legitimate money. That will open the account. What you put into the account later in a different ways is between you and the bank. What he never told the people, that even after they left him, after they got the arrangement, they got the key to the account, and they left, they thought that he's not involved anymore. He told them, I'm not involved. I opened a small account with legitimate money, IRS money, and that's it. He was still getting kickbacks from the bank, from all the monies that they put in after it also.
Wow.
That was the whole thing.
Even though he wasn't liable for it anymore.
Yeah. So I became a very close friend of Barry. We became friends. We went to dinners, because I said to him, Barry, let's make a deal. You tell me, don't tell me where the money is. Just tell me names of people that you hide money, and I will check and see if they owe money to somebody, which I'm sure they are. And then I know where to find the money, because I know where your two banks are. And he was laughing. Ha, ha, ha. He never gave me, he never divulged anything. He's a lawyer, he's smart. But we were all laughing about, and he wrote books about it. He was famous. He was very famous.
Barry Engel
in Colorado. Then I found out that Epstein met Barry Engel. And then I knew right away how the money was hiding, how he hid money, and so on, because Barry was the vendor who did it for Epstein and taught Epstein how to hide the money through the Cook Island.
Wow.
Okay? So how did I become famous? What I used to do without getting Barry involved. I befriended his secretary. I became so close to his secretary. She's an old lady from Brooklyn who worked for him in Colorado, and he treated her like shit, and she hated him, but she needed a job, and so on. So we became friends. So I had a deal with her. Anytime a new client came to me and said, Danny stole money from me, and I need you to collect, I would take Danny's name, I will call the secretary and say, did this guy came to see Barry? Is he a client of Barry? If she comes, she goes to the computer. If she comes back and says, yeah, he's our client, I know where the money is. The only
Clever.
two banks, and so, yeah. If she said no, then I had to start working harder and look for them. So that became a ritual and a funny thing in the office, that we called Barry's secretary, find out before we take the client on, just to see if he is a client of Barry.
Right.
So Epstein became very close to Barry and learned from Barry the Cook Island vehicle and some other vehicles that I knew about and so on. That's how he started really hiding big money, Russian oligarchs' monies, famous people's money, because he did such a good job, nobody could trace it. Nobody could trace it, except the cases that I took on and found out.
Wow.
And collected. Barry didn't care that I collected money on a client because he got paid already and he got money from the bank coming in. So you won't go get the money. And I used to appear in those banks in Switzerland, and the bank, you again, oh my God. Every time you walk into this bank, we lose the deposit. Because I have all the paperwork, I have all the direct, I know how it was done.
So let me ask you this. It seems, you've laid out kind of like the early genesis of Epstein, his connection with Maxwell, how he started making his money, some of the financial connections he had, and how he was hiding money. That all makes sense. At what point does he start actively getting blackmail on people? And why is he getting blackmail? What?
From day one.
From day one.
He was always afraid that he's going to lose Maxwell. He would lose some other big clients. He needed to make sure that he has on his own developed a vehicle to keep the client.
And you believe he was doing this for his own purposes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Well, eventually he bragged about it, so Mossad used it. Mossad wanted to have blackmail material on people that he developed, that he gave them on those people.
He willingly just shared it with them.
Yeah.
What about CIA?
I don't know of it. I don't think so, because it was too close to him in America. He didn't want to deal with American government. He was afraid of it. He was afraid that they will, I won't be surprised if you would come to me and say, there's some evidence that he did some stuff with the CIA. Maybe. I'm always open-minded to those type of things because I know the players. They're all doomed to do things.
Yeah.
But I don't know of.
Well, the reason I ask is because obviously I'm sure you're aware in the early 2000s when he first got busted for soliciting underage prostitutes or whatever, Alex Acosta came out and said that he was told Epstein belonged to intelligence, and that's allegedly how he got his sweetheart deal that first time around, where he got the slap on the wrist and he was able to basically go in at night, leave all day, and and all that stuff. So if he was working for Mossad, how the hell would Alex Acosta, and who would tell Alex Acosta he belonged to intelligence, and why would Alex Acosta know anything about a Mossad connection?
No, I'm sure that every intelligence agency looked at him as a potential. If they can recruit him, if they can bring him in, he has information that they could use to blackmail other people. And I am sure that the CIA, listen, they're not stupid people. They're not all stupid people. Some of them are. But I'm just saying, CIA did their homework, and they saw a potential here. And they saw maybe we should get close to him and see what we can get from him, and maybe put some screws on him, and just don't try to hurt his business, but just do a deal with him and get some information from him on certain people that we're interested in.
Or maybe he offered that up as a bargaining chip.
And maybe he offered it up. He saw how it worked with Israel. He said, "Oh yeah, I'll give you that." But he got a deal for sure, and Israel didn't influence anybody in the courts in Miami.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
It had to be a local agency, that somebody in this government that made the phone call and said, "Let him go." Period. That's obvious. I don't know who did it, but I'm just saying to you, it had to be.
And then why did Trump hire Acosta as his labor secretary the first time around?
Well, why did he hire anybody who is around him right now?
How the hell is Howard Lutnick still in every single photo with Donald Trump today, after he's blatantly been caught lying about who was Epstein's neighbor for years?
I know.
Next door neighbor.
Please, yes. And the story, I went with my wife, I saw the bed, the massage bed, and I decided, no.
Never.
Yeah. You never?
And he's all over the files.
I'm not going to say anything right now.
How the hell?
But one day I will talk about it, about him.
About Lutnick?
Yeah. Not right now.
Seems like a very bad man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And, there's lots of witness testimonies too.
What I can tell you, which will be a bombshell very soon. Some of the girls that gave up on the hope that there will be justice done, they know who they went to bed with. They know who molested them. They know. They have put together a list of all those people, date, time, and pictures, because they took it from Epstein, that was filming. Anytime one of those guys, those stupid people, came into Epstein's apartment to have sex with one of those girls, he was filming it.
Yeah, there's literally photos of the cameras in the rooms.
Yes, every room had a camera and so on and so forth. Those people didn't realize, didn't care, who knows. They cared or didn't care. They were so blinded by the girls.
Yeah.
So I lost my thought.
The girls are putting together a list.
The girls have put a list with pictures and everything, and there will be a press conference. The timing is coming close.
Yeah.
But they're going to be willing to get up and say, Mr. Jones, Mr. Adam, he molested me. He had a picture.
How did they get pictures?
They took it from Epstein.
How?
I don't know. Somebody cooperated in the house. They got smart later on, and before they left, they got some pictures. I don't know how they got it.
Right.
So the lawyers have it. Their lawyers have it. The girls have it. They have all that, but the timing is not right yet, according to them. They're looking for the right timing. That will tackle the government. That will be the end of this government. And people all over the world are going to go in hiding because they're all going to be sued. They're all going to be, their evidence and testimony of time, date, and what was done to them by those people.
So we saw this release of starting in December, on like a Friday afternoon in December, when they first dumped the first tranche of Epstein files out. And then like immediately after, Trump did the Venezuela operation.
Yeah.
And then I believe in January, the second tranche of files came out, and then we immediately launched the Iran war.
That's right.
And
there's no more wars to announce right now for the next tranche. Next tranche, they're done. They're gone. They're all gone.
What's all gone?
I'm saying all those government leaders that have been surviving this secret so far, and so on, they're all going to be gone.
So that evidence, we got a bunch of emails and stuff, and there was lots of redactions. They said they were only going to redact the victims, but they redacted way more than just the victims.
Of course.
They redacted like big names of like sheiks and oil executives and all.
Yes.
It's very interesting the people that they didn't redact and the people they did redact, if you really like read between the lines and look at it. But
of course.
Like that's not the real evidence. The real evidence is on the hard drives, because there's survivors, there's girls that were there that testified that he had rooms as big as this room right now that were filled with servers and computers and monitors that were recording all that footage that he had, not only on the island, but in New York, the Zorro Ranch, everywhere.
On a plane,
cameras.
The plane was rigged and everywhere.
Where's all that footage?
I can't tell you.
Really?
Yeah.
Can I guess?
No, please don't. Not now. Don't guess now. So that's why I said the days.
Let me ask you this.
The day it will come out is important. It has to be the right time, the right day.
Let me ask you this. I'm sorry to put a legendary Mossad assassin on the hot seat. But if I was to guess, do you think I would guess right?
Probably. That's why we shouldn't talk about it right now.
All right. That's all I needed to know. Do you think it's possible Epstein is still alive?
No. I can assure you he's not. No.
You can assure me he's not?
Yeah.
What makes you believe that he's dead? Other than the fact, because there's lots of people that poke holes in.
Yeah, they can say whatever. He's dead. There was a body. There was an autopsy of credible people. He's dead. I know where he's buried, and he's buried. And again, it goes into the same question of what happened to the information that was stored on the computers and where is it now. So it's the same type of question. How do you know he's dead? I'm telling you, he's dead. Period.
And you know for an absolute fact that he's dead?
Absolute fact he's dead.
How do you think he died?
Oh, he was killed. This I can tell you. He was killed. It was arranged for somebody from the outside to go into his cell and kill him.
Why wouldn't they just have that big jacked gorilla guy who like was a cop killer kill him?
No, because he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. And they needed it to be done professionally. It needed to be done professionally by somebody who is a professional assassin to come in, do it, and get away, and that's it. And that person doesn't live in America and is not in America anymore.
You know who that person is?
Maybe.
You don't think it's possible that there was any way to extract him from that prison through like some secret door?
No. You know the story about those tunnels, those doors, secret doors. Now, this is an old building that they kept the notorious mafia people that if there was a secret door, believe me, they would have been whisked out of there by their own people. No. This is all good stories that the media is seeking and somebody is out there selling it and the rumors are out there. No, it's too obvious. A man died.
So
he had to die.
let me play the devil's advocate with you real quick. If I'm Jeffrey Epstein, and I'm going through the shit I'm going through throughout the 2000s and up to 2019, fighting all this stuff, against the most powerful people in the world who obviously want me dead. I'm going to have some sort of a dead man switch, meaning I'm going to have some sort of situation set up where I have somebody who's disconnected from me on the opposite end of the country who has access to the blackmail that knows the second you see that I'm dead, you release it. And you want to let the people know that are threatening you that that's going to happen if they kill you.
Yeah. It's a good
Why wouldn't he have that?
Why? Because that's the biggest question that I have. Stupid Epstein. Why didn't you create it? Mm-hmm. And my answer to it is, he was so sure that he survived the first attempt of his arrest in Miami, got a slap on the hand, that it's a question of days that the powers, wherever they are, including the White House and some other places, that they will make sure that they will find a way to release him and just send him out and give him a probation or whatever, or maybe even pardon him and so on. There is a rumor, and I stipulate a rumor, that he was promised that he will be pardoned by the president.
By Trump.
Yeah. And if it's true, it was good enough for him because he believed that Trump should pardon him and would pardon him, that he doesn't have to do anything, just stay there quiet for another few days and in the cell. And the people who needed to make sure that he is silenced, for sure, knew about that potential arrangement
between him and Trump.
And said, we have to go and kill him. And that's what happened.
And then there was
powers beyond the White House and Trump and all some other people. There are powers beyond that had have more to lose than
beyond heads of state.
You got it. And when it all boils down, it goes to the old story of follow the money, and it all has to do with money, the power of money, the greed and power of money. The girls are just to occupy the media. The story is a paraphernalia where the girls were the paraphernalia to occupy, and the media loves it. Everybody only talks about the girls, which is a tragedy for the girls. I fully say that again and again, that those girls need to get everything that they deserve to get to make it right of what has happened to them. And no one should get away with what happened to them. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't Epstein alone. It's so many other powerful people. And they are not worried about the girls. They're worried about the idea that their money laundering operation will be surfacing. Mm-hmm. And as long as everybody's preoccupied with the girls, nobody's talking about the money. Very seldomly people talk about the money. Mm-hmm. And that's where the story is, the money.
What do you make of, there's the email that was in the files where Ghislaine emailed Trump, or not Trump, Ghislaine emailed Epstein. And she said, Trump is the dog who hasn't barked. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
What'd you make of that?
Well, I mean, they had a lot of conversations. Ghislaine wanted to remind Epstein, if you have any power that you claimed you had over Trump, I need a pardon. I need something to happen. And you need to make it happen.
Ghislaine needs a pardon?
Ghislaine is hoping to get a pardon for him and leave the country.
At the time that email was sent, she was still in custody. She wasn't in custody yet, was she?
She was.
She was?
Of course. She knows she knew where she's going. She knows she's going to jail for a long time. Mm-hmm. She knows that. She was smart. She was not stupid. She was a smart woman. Mm-hmm. Very manipulative, smart woman. She knew what the odds were. And she also knew what Epstein had as a blackmail material on all of those guys.
Right.
And she wanted to remind him. And there were other emails where she reminded that he needs to take care of himself and create a...
He had that list, right?
Yes.
He had the list, like a getaway list, in case shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, she reminded him again and again, make sure that you have the insurance policy prepared for rainy days. I mean, she and he poo-pooed it because he said, yeah. It happened so many times that I was going after fraudsters, mega fraudsters, who stole billions and billions of dollars. And I met with them and I gave them an offer. You pay the money back to my client. I have a judgment against you. You pay the money, I let you go, and nobody needs to know that you made the arrangement and paid it back. If you don't, that will go to the press that we collected against you. The IRS will come in, and you start with the IRS, you're in jail for life,
right,
for tax evasion. So none of them said, you know what? Do I need a problem with the IRS? I'll pay him some money. And I always tell those people, I'm not a pig. I don't need all your money. You owe my client $30 million. Give me $28 million. Write a check of $28 million. I'll leave you $2 million for old age, for legitimate old age, and go walk away. None of them said yes, ever. Wow. Ever.
So what do you think is going to happen to Ghislaine?
What will happen?
What do you speculate will happen to her eventually?
I don't want to speculate. Because if I speculate and it happens, then I knew about it in advance. So I'm not going to talk about it.
Are you optimistic?
For her?
I mean, it depends what your view is. I mean, I don't want to see her go free. I mean, I think she needs to be...
Yeah.
I think she needs to rot in jail.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I think, personally. Yeah. But what will happen is a different story.
Mm-hmm. Why don't you think she's been killed yet?
Good question. Because there was no need so far. She's not quiet. She's happy playing with little puppies in this special jail and so on. She really believes that she's going to be pardoned by Trump. Mm. She believes it. She was promised by the Attorney General to be.
Mm. Yeah, and then one of the things that we were talking about last night on the topic of Trump was, there was the whole Russiagate fiasco that happened during the 2016 election, where, Trump was accused of colluding with Russia to essentially rig the 2016 election. Mm-hmm. And then there was the whole, that was all over the media. Everyone was talking about how Trump was colluding with Putin to steal the election. Trump was also campaigning on like a détente with Russia to actually create a friendship with the number 2 nuclear power in the world, and not paint them as the enemy anymore. Mm-hmm. And
all true.
Yeah. And then there were the whole Mueller report happened, and they concluded that there was no conspiracy.
Well,
in the conclusion of that report, they said there's no conspiracy or actual evidence that this ever happened, and Hillary was behind this.
It's not correct. The Mueller report concluded there was collusion It's just the opposite of what you just said. That's what the conclusion was. But the Attorney General at the time took the report, never let it come out on time, and said in summary there was no evidence. There was plenty evidence, and if you watch the media right now lately, what the prosecutor, what's his name, who was in Trump is after.
Comey?
No,
Not Mueller?
not Mueller, but
I can't remember the name of the prosecutor.
the guy who investigated, the special prosecutor.
I can't remember.
The special prosecutor,
Mm-hmm.
recently just in the news.
Yeah, Steve will find it.
He investigated a special.
Who investigated who?
The Trump stealing the paperwork and keeping
The files that he kept
and
at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah,
Jack Smith.
Jack Smith.
Yeah.
How can I forget? He's a friend, and I work with him. Okay, so he just said again and again, I have all the evidence that there was a collusion. I have all the evidence and so on, and I'm waiting for the time to get it into court and make it public.
Okay, so I was not aware that. So ask AI or ChatGPT or Claude or something. Ask it what was the official conclusion of the Mueller report on Russiagate. Because I could have sworn that the actual conclusion of it was there was no conspiracy.
I have the report. I have the Mueller report. No.
Because there was a whole story that came out. I think Matt Taibbi was one of the big journalists behind this, that Hillary Clinton had hired somebody to go out and...
There were rumors, there were a lot of stories. Hillary had nothing to do with it at the time. It was too late by the time she woke up and realized that she lost the election. It was too late to do anything. And she couldn't go and say anything to change the election at the time and make Trump look bad. And so, no. You know, what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to see. I want to see what you came up with on this ChatGPT, Steve. Did you get it?
Okay, so this is what I got.
The Mueller report concluded that investigators did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in 2016 election interference activities. However, the report explicitly stated it did not exonerate the president, particularly concerning allegations of obstruction of justice.
That's it.
So the obstruction of justice is the files that he kept at Mar-a-Lago?
Yes. Not only that, no. But you see what it says. Officially, the investigation by the Trump organization didn't show that they have done. I mean, they did their own investigation, of course, and found that there was no collusion. It was not the official investigation that found that there was no collusion between Russia and Trump.
Is the Mueller report not the official investigation?
Yes, but it's not the one that you are looking at it here.
It's at the top. Doesn't it reference the Mueller report?
Yeah, but
It concluded.
it's not. No. It can read carefully what it says.
Look, New York Times. Go back, Steve. What's the New York Times article say? Up. Nope, right there. Mueller finds no Trump-Russia conspiracy. But click on that. See what it says. But stops short of exonerating the president on obstruction.
Here we go.
What is the obstruction story?
The obstruction is collusion with Russia on the...
Find out. Ask it exactly what it's referring to by the obstruction. Mueller did not reach a prosecutional conclusion on whether Trump obstructed justice because the Justice Department policy said a sitting president could not be indicted. Mueller declined to make the ordinary charge or decline decision. The report said...
Read it right. Read it right. What I'm trying to tell you is he couldn't come out with the right conclusion
Right.
because he couldn't charge him because the laws wouldn't allow him to charge a sitting president. But it doesn't mean
Sure.
I have the documents.
This says the exact conclusion was that the report did not conclude Trump committed a crime.
Yeah,
but
officially,
it did not
but
officially exonerate him
You
either.
got it.
So there's no evidence that he stole the election with Russia.
There's no evidence also that he didn't do it because they could not continue the investigation and publish it because they couldn't use it against a sitting president.
Mm-hmm.
That was the issue.
Okay.
And if you go to what's his name again? Just now.
The prosecutor?
Yeah.
Smith?
Yeah. If you go to Smith's statement just a few days ago,
Mm-hmm.
he came out and said, "I have all the evidence of the conclusion of Trump's collusion with Russia that was based on the Mueller report."
Can you find that?
He took over the Mueller report and took it further.
Mm-hmm. What's the story with the Smith guy? What's his deal?
Oh, Trump fired him and accused him of whatever. I don't know, that he's going to sue him because of his lawsuit, because of the situation with the Mar-a-Lago paperwork and so on. So he's standing by right now. But he has all the evidence. He's now coming out again and again and says, "I have all the evidence."
Right.
Okay. And
But I mean, it's just hard to trust people like that.
No,
because everybody in the government
No,
lies. They all have
Not him.
vendettas against each other.
Not him.
This is a good guy, huh? This is one of the good guys.
Who hired him? It's a Trump, and the Trump Attorney General hired him.
Mm-hmm. Did you find the statement?
He was brought in from Europe. He was the top prosecutor at The Hague.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this guy is a legend. Legend in.
What's his first name again? Smith. Last name
Jack
Smith.
Smith.
Jack Smith.
Jack Smith.
Jack Smith. Okay. Okay.
You go and study Jack Smith.
So you do believe that he did some sort of a deal with Russia to steal the election?
Yes. Russia told him, you run to become a president. We will make sure that you will be the president. And, they for them, it was just a situation, as I told you last night. Every intelligence agency, at the KGB, almost they all dream to groom somebody in enemy country that would one day be high enough in the government that have access to secrets and so on that they can then have. No one in their life thought that they can develop a president of the country as a source.
Mm-hmm.
And what did it cost them? Just money and support. And it worked. Worked for Putin. Study just the relationship between Trump and Putin.
Yeah, how did that relationship start?
It started when Trump was bankrupt. He needed money. And he went to Russia, met with Putin, and asked Putin to loan him money. And Putin did loan him a few $100 million to start with.
When is this published? July 16th, so like 4 days ago.
I
Jim
couldn't
Jordan says House weighing criminal referral of Jack Smith for allegedly lying to Congress.
Oh, but Jordan, thank you. Please.
I couldn't find what he said, but I did find this.
Republicans allege Smith lied under oath about obtaining texts from 44 lawmakers during Trump probe. Scroll down to the first paragraph. What is this publication you're on? This is Fox News.
It's Fox News
Yeah,
and
this
Jordan
is,
is
this
saying
is Fox
it.
News.
Please,
Yeah, you can't really trust it.
I have this one from Chuck Grassley, whoever that is. Same thing.
Jack Smith's investigative team secretly obtained text messages from 44 members of Congress amid Trump probe. Members on both sides of the aisle were swept up in a special counsel investigation as Smith's team broke investigative protocol, raising constitutional concerns. Okay, obtained and reviewed text messages from 44 members of Congress as part of the Biden DOJ criminal investigation into Trump. Evidence shows the investigators bypassed the required filter team review process, violating investigative protocols and potentially infringing on constitutional guardrails.
Well, they had to do what they had to do to get the information. I mean, but they successfully got it. That's why they went after them.
Right. They illegally stole text messages from sitting members of Congress regarding what specifically? What were the text messages saying? It was a part of the Russia probe. But
yeah, the collusion.
This is yet another grotesque example of the Biden administration's weaponization of the Department of Justice, Johnson said. Jack Smith's team acted with impunity as they disregarded their own protocols to obtain access to the White House text messages, including messages from 44 members of Congress. At this point, no one should be shocked by Jack Smith's recklessness and blatant abuse of power. They should be outraged.
But he got the stuff. Danny.
Yeah, but if you get the stuff, would you do it illegally? Are you allowed to use it in a court of law?
No, that's what he's holding back. He's now developing a way to use it legally by subpoenaing those people and say, did you say those things or not?
Mm-hmm.
Very simple. You can correct things.
So how the hell did Russia sway the election?
They didn't, by giving him enough finance to run. He ran. He was.
Didn't he get like 100-something million from Marion Adelson?
That too. He got a lot of money. You forget one thing, that when he ran, when he came down the escalator the first time, he said, I don't need anybody's money. I'm rich. I'm so rich that I don't need any money. I will come and clean the house. I will clean the day or whatever and do all those things. He was bankrupt at the time. All his casinos in Atlantic City were bankrupt. He bankrupted his casinos that his father gave him his money to open. Billions of dollars. So now he needed money to run. You need a lot of money to run to become a president.
Right, okay. Correct.
And Russia gave him the money to run.
But we have no evidence, though.
There is evidence of. It just didn't come out yet in the right vehicle. But there is evidence of that. And it will come out in due time.
Who has the evidence?
Well,
you do?
Me? No.
So why did Russia? First of all, how do you think Russia gave him this money? How did they keep it a secret?
It's money that came through oligarchs who came in to buy a real estate from him and gave him inflated numbers for each apartment that they bought from him. That's how they laundered money. The best way to launder money is real estate. Mm-hmm. You can make a number, or you can quote a number for an apartment, and if somebody pays you that.
So you're saying he refinanced a bunch of his hotels and casinos through Russia?
That's right.
Which means Russia holds the note on a bunch of his real estate.
On all of them.
On all of them.
All of them. He doesn't own anymore most of his.
How would someone, a forensic financial investigator, go about proving something like that?
That's easy. It has been done already.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes.
So
that's what Jack Smith is talking about.
All right. He's referring to this.
Yeah.
So what do you make of this whole conflict with Ukraine and Russia?
Well,
and Trump's position on it, and
I'm pro Ukraine. I'm against Russia. They had no reason to invade Ukraine, and it's a shame that we let it go so far. If America would have put her foot down a long time ago when it started and told Russia stay away from Ukraine, if not NATO and us will come and assist them,
Yeah.
he wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, but
He felt enough secure to go ahead and invade Ukraine because he knew that America will not stop him, and America will make sure that NATO will not stop him. And that's what happened. But now things are changing. NATO is now reacting differently, and we are slowly now releasing more weapons to him. Just recently, just yesterday, we gave him another huge amount of missiles and so on.
who do we give missiles to?
To Ukraine, to
Right.
Zelensky.
Right.
We're allowing him now to build some of our weapons in Ukraine.
Yeah. Now, what
License it.
about the argument? What do you think about the argument, though, that a lot of smart people make, geopolitical analysts make, about how Ukraine or the United States has been allowing NATO to creep up closer and closer and closer to Russia, when the original agreement was no Ukraine? That was always a hard line. And then all of a sudden now there's talks. Not only is the United States putting bioweapons labs in Ukraine and doing coups in Ukraine and trying to influence Ukrainian politics, when that's always been off the table, because that was the one hardline boundary that Putin had when it came to NATO expansion. But we said, fuck you, we're going to keep pushing NATO as far as we fucking can. And not only that, but like there was the color revolutions, the Maidan thing and all that, where Ukraine's been this tug of war between the West and Russia. And, eventually the dam just broke. Like, can you see it from his perspective?
Yeah, what happens right now, NATO woke up and realized they cannot rely on the United States anymore for security. They need to develop their own capabilities to defend Europe and not rely. They hope that America, as part of NATO, will come in, but if they don't, they need to be able to defend themselves. Mm-hmm. They see the war they see now what it was obvious before, that Ukraine was the only country who was in war with Russia that everyone should have supported to put Russia in place from the beginning. And it hasn't happened. Now they are waking up. They're all supporting Ukraine, including United States, as of the last few weeks, are supporting Ukraine more than ever before. It's because they're realizing that Russia will not stop with Ukraine. They will go for Poland. They will go for Romania. They need a port in the Mediterranean. They need Bucharest. They need Romania also. So if you don't stop them now with Ukraine,
right? I see what you're saying, but isn't this all because of us? Didn't we start this problem?
Oh yeah, of course we started the problem. Of course we started the problem because whoever made the decision to start the problem had no clue of European politics and history.
Mm-hmm. Like imagine if you put the shoe on the other foot, and if Russia started opening bioweapons labs in Mexico and started doing coups with the Mexican government and doing all this stuff, and and started putting ICBM missile sites.
All the stuff that you just said happened after the war, 2-3 years into the war already. It didn't happen because we came in one day and started putting those labs, and Russia said, wow, look what they're doing. Let's attack Ukraine. No. It all happened after 2-3 years of mega attempts of attacks on Ukraine by Russia.
You're saying pre-2019?
Yes.
Or post-2019?
Post.
Yeah, but we've been pushing NATO up closer and closer, and then the talks about getting Ukraine to join NATO happened before that.
Yeah, we wanted to allow NATO. We invited Russia to join NATO too if they wanted.
No, that's not what I heard.
No. Originally, there was a time before Trump that there were talks among the intelligence departments in the United States that it would be wise to have long-term peace in the world in a way, because we are worried about China, not Russia.
Right.
And we would like to have Russia with us if ever it came to a war with China. So we needed to Have a dialogue with them. Maybe they want to join, not officially, but be closer. We will cooperate. We will not attack them. They will not attack that. We will. There were talks about bringing them into the European team, and they refused to do so. They refused to come on board. Then the United States decided, we're going to push them to maybe make a different decision by getting NATO closer, instigating, maybe bringing Ukraine into NATO, which Russia put it as a red line. We were testing. It's all testing each other. How far can we go? Like little kids, slap on a hand here, slap on a hand there. It's not serious because you don't have real professionals who make those decisions in the United States right now. They don't have read history. They're not following history. They don't understand look what happened with Iran. It's the same story.
Yeah.
We miscalculated it not because we were stupid. It's because we never studied it. We never listened to professionals. The first arrangement with Iran regarding the nuclear agreement was done during Obama. And the person who ran this deal was, what's his name, the famous senator he worked on it for almost 2 years.
What senator did the Iran deal? The JCPOA?
He was famous. He was running for president, and then I'm bad with names.
Bob Corker?
Sorry?
Ben Cardin, Bob Corker.
No.
This is what I got.
No. The guy who is attributed to the top guy who negotiated the...
Who negotiated the JCPOA? Go up. John Kerry?
Yeah.
John Kerry.
John Kerry. John Kerry worked for 2 years negotiating it with the Iranian, and he said they were professional. They were smart people. It took 2 years to come up with it. We tore it apart.
Netanyahu hated the JCPOA.
Of course, because it was against his will to attack.
Right. You thought it was a good thing?
That's what?
JCPOA?
Yes.
The Iran deal?
Yes. It delayed everything, and hopefully smarter people one day will come and run the world, and we don't need wars. I'm against wars because I've seen what wars do.
Yeah, and we were talking about this last night. It's like we're in the age where war doesn't work anymore, and it's become obvious. And China has already seen this.
Exactly.
And they're playing the long game, and they're just going to let these crazy maniacs run around with the guns.
Because the leaders in China are there forever. It's the same people for years, generation after generation. They learn, they saw history. Here, every 4 years, you get another person. By the time he studies what's going on,
right?
And if he's not smart, he can't study at all.
Right.
Period.
You get more done when you're not a democracy.
Exactly.
And when you're trying to spin your wheels and pretend like you're a democracy.
That's it.
Running the shadow government behind the scenes.
You just said it.
Yeah. That's become more, I think the whole Epstein stuff coming out has made that more apparent to the public. The people who are at least paying attention.
I think so. And I hope so. I hope people listen. I hope people open their eyes, and I hope and just connect dots.
Yeah.
Because most people are smart enough to realize things on their own. But if they're hooked to one version of somebody who's dictating that version to them, and they obey it and close their eyes and don't want to see anything else, then shame on them.
Speaking of John Kerry, who is connected to Iran-Contra.
Oh, I mean, he is, yeah.
And all that stuff.
Yeah.
You explain how you got into investigating the Pan Am bombing.
Oh, very simple. After the plane was shot down, exploded in the air over Lockerbie, there was a bomb on board. And the Pan Am...
What year? It was 88?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they wanted to know, Panam wanted to know what have happened to the plane, who put the bomb on board, because it was clear there was a bomb on board, and they wanted to know who put the bomb, who was behind it. So their insurance company, the insurance company, USAIG, the insurance company that insured Panam and would pay for that study, hired me. So Panam and the insurer interviewed all the biggest investigators in the world and so on. And in the end, they decided to hire me to do the investigation. And I went out, and for 2 months, 2.5 months, I went to Europe undercover, did my stuff, came back and wrote a report. And the report suggested, and I had all the evidence in the report, suggested that there was a drug operation done in the Middle East, in Beirut, where the CIA allowed drug dealers shipping drugs to the United States and got piece of the money that it was sold on the streets to children in Chicago and New York to raise a slush fund that the CIA was putting together to finance the war in the Contras in Latin America. And it was a Oliver North operation. It came out, it blew up later on, and it came out later, but at the beginning. So I saw that, and what have happened, we had 7 hostages. This is the famous British and U.S. hostages that were held in Beirut at the time. And the U.S. government decided they want to go release them by force. Reagan decided.
October surprise?
Yeah, something. So they sent 3 of America's James Bonds. I mean, really unbelievable. 3 guys, Green Beret, CIA operated. They send them undercover to Beirut to find out where do they hold, where the hostages are being held, so the Marines can storm the beaches, go in, and release them by force. Those 3 arrive in Beirut, and they don't know anybody there, so they contact the CIA guys that are stationed in Beirut all year round, at the embassy and so on, for help. And through discussions, they find out that the CIA is allowing a suitcase full of heroin on a weekly basis, going from Beirut to Cyprus, from Cyprus to London, and London to New York on Panam every week. And they said, those guys are doing, the CIA guys on the ground are doing drug dealings and so on. We're not going to cooperate with that. And we're not going to let the Marines come in. We don't trust them now. Maybe they're going to sell us out, the CIA people. We're flying back to Washington, and we're going to go to Congress, and we're going to spill the guts. And they made the fatal mistake by telling the people on the ground, guys, we're going back, and we're going to blow you guys out of the water. They bought tickets. They flew from, it was just before Christmas. They flew from Beirut. They took the boat from Beirut to Cyprus, went to the travel agency in Cyprus to buy tickets on Panam 103 to go home on Christmas, just before Christmas. Stop there. The guys on the ground called Langley and said, the 3 guys that you send in to do the job are on the way back. They're coming back to spill the guts to Congress of what's going on. We're giving you a heads up. Okay, so now the CIA knows that the 3 guys are on board of Panam 103 because they have copies of the tickets. They know the passengers, they know their names and so on. So now the suitcase is a different story. Few months before that happened, the U.S. government, a Navy boat in the Mediterranean, in a Gulf, shut down an Iranian aircraft, civilian aircraft by mistake, full of pilgrims that came in from Mecca to Iran. They were flying over the boat, and they by mistake thought that they're coming to attack them, to shut them down. And the following day, there were pictures of bodies of women and children floating on it. It was a disaster. Iran officially said that they're going to avenge that. They're going to shut down, they're going to do something to an American courier before Christmas.
An American what?
Courier,
Oh.
Panama. It wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't aimed at Panam.
Right.
So Iran needed deniability. They didn't want to do it on their own. They hired Ahmad Jibril, who was a notorious terrorist out of Damascus, was hiding in Damascus, who was specializing in aviation bombing. Notorious. He tried several times to do other aircraft, and it didn't succeed, but he was the ticket. He got, documented now, $50 million to put a bomb on a American airliner. Happens to be that Ahmad Jibril owned the Bekaa Valley. The Bekaa Valley is where all the drugs are being grown and all the heroin and stuff comes from. It's his operation. That's how he makes money year round.
In
Beirut. In Bekaa Valley. So he knows, because he is preparing the suitcase, a weekly suitcase that the CIA is taking and selling it to raise money. It was his suitcase and his courier that takes it on board. He said, very easy. Rather than drugs, I'm going to put a bomb in it. The CIA courier will take it with him, and he always says that it's a diplomatic pouch, government pouch. No custom doesn't open it. He will put it on board of the aircraft, any aircraft that we can find, but it's going to be Panam because we know the route of that suitcase every week. And the rest is history. And that's what happened. It happened to be that it's the same aircraft that the 3 CIA guys that were flying back to spill their guts were on flight 103 going out of London. Now, so I did the investigation and I found out that, it's a long story, that the suitcase comes into Frankfurt, to Frankfurt Airport, to Frankfurt in Germany. And then it goes on a feeder, what they call a feeder. It's a small aircraft, to London, and then it goes on to Panam 103, a big plane that goes, a jumbo jet goes every day to New York. So the suitcase comes down the somebody checks it in, the courier checks the suitcase. He comes in, he buys a ticket, he checks the suitcase in Germany. The suitcase goes down to the basement where all the suitcases are being put on a trolley and then taken to the aircraft, like every day.
Right.
At that time, the CIA had an undercover person works at the baggage handling area. They wanted to make sure that somebody down at the baggage area will supervise that the suitcase that is coming down the escalator with all the rest of the suitcases, nobody will touch it, nobody will open it, and so on, because there's drug in it.
Right.
Not a bomb, a drug in it. And just put it on a right trolley to the aircraft. His name was O'Neill. Okay, so when I did the investigation, I told the Panam, listen, you own the baggage handling area, it's your baggage handling area. It's Panam's baggage handling area. I want to do a polygraph test to the 5 guys there to see if they know about a mysterious suitcase and what's in the suitcase. I said, okay, we'll arrange it. I flew. I took with me a retired top FBI polygrapher who retired and was the best FBI polygrapher ever. He worked for me now. I flew with him to Frankfurt, and we did a polygraph, announced a polygraph to the 5 people that day. 4 arrived, and 1 didn't arrive to the polygraph. The 4 that arrived passed it to, said, yeah, we knew about Zucker, but we didn't know what's in it. The guy who didn't show up came in 2 hours later running in and said, Mr. Aviv, I need to talk to you. I cannot take the polygraph. I said, why can't you take? He said, well, I just came back from the American embassy in Bonn. I went to talk to my handler and my supervisor, and they told me, don't take this polygraph test. But I can tell you that I wasn't there the day that specific suitcase with the bomb went through. I went to the dentist that day. Unbeknownst to them, the German authorities were suspecting that there was something going on in the area of the baggage handling of Panam, because the Panam was the only courier who flew, American courier, who went to Berlin at the time, had a flight to Berlin also. They thought that there's something going on in Berlin with the Russians, so they had cameras in the area. And I got the footage from them. And I see O'Neill taking the suitcase and going to the public phone and making a phone call, hanging it, and puts the suitcase on the trolley and takes it. So he wasn't at the dentist. Then Panam owns all the phones in the area, in the baggage handling. They were recording, all the phone calls were recorded because they were abused by the baggage handler. They were calling their families all over the world when they didn't have work to do. So Panam wanted to see who was making all those phone calls and sued them. I got the phone call, and the phone call says, this is O'Neill calling the embassy in Bonn. I have the suitcase today. It's much heavier than usual. And the answer there is, we know, let it go.
Whoa.
I got the suit, I got the tape, I said, I have a bombshell. What did the CIA know and why did they let the bomb go?
Right.
Okay. Furthermore, it's getting even more complicated. We find out that the day of the flight, or the few days before the flight, suddenly 48 or 68 people canceled their flight on that specific flight going to New York. And before Christmas, you couldn't get a ticket.
Right.
I mean, it's impossible. And what happened, unfortunately, a class of the University of Syracuse were on vacation. I'm still emotional about it. 48 of them got the tickets to go on board and died on board. Who got off the flight? Government employees that the CIA warned to get off the flight, cancel the flight.
Jesus Christ.
And we had all the cancellations because Panam were my client and I can get the flight.
All the cancellations were government officials.
Yeah. Okay. So now I wrote the report, and that report became a nightmare for me. I finished the report, and O'Neill, of course, gave us a confession later on. Yes, I was there, and I was told not to, and not to take the call, and the polygraph, and so on. And we took the report, I gave it to Panam. They flipped out. The CIA allowed the bomb to go aboard. And they used an American courier, a flight every week, for 16 months documented, to have that suitcase 16 months on a daily basis, weekly basis, flying to New York with drugs. A CIA guy came to the airport to pick the suitcase up before it even went through customs. He used to come on a weekly basis, went to Panama and said, I'm a CIA guy. I have a diplomatic pouch on the plane. They drove him to the plane when it landed. He picked up the suitcase and drove it out. It never went through customs. They're all documented. Now we have a bombshell. So the chairman of Panam and the insurance guy decided we're going to go to Washington and we're going to confront the CIA. And they took me with them. And in the meeting, the people there who met with us didn't know who I am. They thought I'm a lawyer, part of the legal team. And one of the top guys, which I won't mention who it is, a top guy said to the head of the CIA, the head of Panam and the insurer, guys, whatever is on this, whatever is mentioned in this report is true. But you cannot do anything about it, talk about it, because it's national security and state secret, and you're not allowed to do anything with it. Okay? So they said, really? We're not going to go? We're going to go to the president with this. We're going to go, we are now going to go as high as we can to get an answer. Why did you guys allow a suitcase full of drugs 18 months going on our aircraft? So I go home. And they went and talked to some other people, got the same story. You cannot use it, it's national security. And we want to know who wrote the report. Because some of the information, they said to them, some of the information in the report must have come from our computers because it's so accurate.
From whose computers?
From the CIA computers.
Oh.
They wanted to know who wrote it. So I'm at home Friday night, watching TV, eating dinner. Suddenly, I see a news blitz. A congressman, trafficant, standing in front of Congress with my report in his hand, and he says, Panam 103 was downed by the CIA, and the reporter Juval Aviv of Interpol wrote this report that I have in my hand, and we will publish it. Hours later, my house was surrounded by media trucks with antennas. I couldn't get out of the house. Every reporter, every media, every newspaper, every whatever worldwide came to my house. They wanted an interview with me. They knew my name now. I wrote the report. So I couldn't get out. 2 weeks, I'm at home, and the guys outside, they relented, and they're staying there with the cameras. My wife couldn't go out. I mean, it was really a disaster. And Panam negotiated with the press that not all of them, but one designated person will come to interview me. Panam will arrange for the interview. They'll allow it. I came to the interview, and the government didn't allow them to do the interview. And the media guy didn't show up.
Wow.
Okay. So now trafficant, they went after trafficant.
What's his name?
It was trafficant.
Trafficant,
famous. It was
not Trafficante.
Trafficante.
The mob guy?
Yeah. Well, yeah, later on they said the mob.
Huh.
He was a congressman. Is it trafficant or a
James Trafficant?
What?
James
Pull him up.
Trafficant.
Oh, Trafficant. Oh,
Yeah.
this guy. Okay,
Yeah.
James Trafficant. I thought you were talking about
James
Trafficant.
Trafficant, yeah.
Okay,
No,
I was talking about, I think it
no,
was
no,
something
no.
different.
Okay. So now, every reporter in the world, every magazine in Europe, in the world, had a copy of my report, and they were all trying to go and see if there's holes in my reports or something. What?
Google, just for the record,
Yeah.
Google AI says, despite the claims that there was a CIA bomb on board, which were sensationalized by the media in the late 80s and early 90s, no evidence ever substantiated the theory that there was a DEA sting operation or any CIA involvement or any drug trafficking allowed by terrorists.
Yeah, well, that's,
Google AI says you're completely full of shit.
yeah, of course, I know that. They tried it during the trial. I won the trial, then they changed. They had to change it. Okay, so now I'm at home, and Panam comes to me and says, listen, would you go to Europe and help continue the investigation, because now we have to expand it? I said, no, it's impossible for me to get out of the house. They're all following me. Time magazine came to me in the office and said, listen, we will assign our best investigative reporter. He's an old-timer. He's in retirement. Roy Rowan. We're bringing him back. He was the investigator on the killing of Kennedy. He found the Caputo footage.
Bruder film?
Yeah.
What was this guy's name?
Roy Rowan. If you in the stuff that I send you, there's a
Roy Rowan. Okay.
Yeah, Roy Rowan. He's famous.
Okay.
So if you agree, you travel with Roy Rowan and you investigate with him, you reinvestigate, Roy Rowan, you reinvestigate the you do again what you've done and show him how you did it. If he comes back and he says that everything you said is correctly, we will give you a cover and 10, 15 pages and support you. If he comes back and he says you're full of shit, then we will give you a cover and 20 pages that you're not going to like.
Right.
I said, amen, I'll do it. Thank you. I went with Roy Warren. We did 4 weeks investigation, traced most of the stuff. He interviewed the people there. He did everything that I done. Came back, and you have a picture of it in my book proposal.
Yeah, find the Time magazine cover.
Yeah, Time magazine gave me a...
Juval Aviv, Time magazine, Pan Am.
Gave me a front page, plus 20 pages saying that whatever I said in the report is correct and so on and so forth.
Oh, I bet the CIA wasn't happy about that.
Oh, wait, it's getting worse. Now every other magazine starts copying Time magazine.
Right.
Time magazine used to come in every Sunday night. You can buy it already Sunday night before the subscribers would get it Monday, Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So on Sunday night, Ted Koppel of Nightline called me up and said, I would like to do a full hour. Normally he has 4 people that he interviews.
60 minutes?
No, it's ABC Nightline.
Okay, got it.
Ted Koppel.
Okay.
He was the news person every Sunday.
Right.
Stationed against 60 Minutes.
Got it.
Not against a competition.
Got it.
So he said, I'm going to screw the rest of the people. You're going to get a full hour on your own. I want to interview you. And I did the interview with him. And he said, I fully support your investigation too. Now you have ABC Nightline, you have Time Magazine, and you have all the European mega newspapers, my pictures on board and so on, saying, yes, his report is correct. The CIA and the US government have to do something about it. So they decided to make an announcement that they found who put the bombs on board. 2 Libyans out of Malta sent the bombs in an unattended suitcase that went on Panam 103 with a bomb in it, and they are working for Gaddafi, and they're hiding in where's Gaddafi?
Libya?
Libya.
Yeah.
And since they're hiding in Libya and Gaddafi is not going to release them, there's nothing we can do about it. And of course,
That's what the CIA said.
Yeah. It announced mid a press conference. So now, it didn't work because the reporters started looking into that and realized that those 2 guys who worked there, the Libyans, had nothing to do with Panam, and they didn't have a suitcase, weren't in the airport at the time to send it, and so on. That whole theory fell apart. Mm-hmm. But meanwhile, it was countering my opportunity to say my investigation was right.
Right.
So then they decided they're going to sue us all.
The CIA?
Yeah. The government, the CIA, will sue us.
Who was the president?
Is it Reagan?
88?
88, I don't know.
Yeah, it must have been Reagan.
Yeah, I think it's Reagan. Okay. So Friday afternoon again, I'm sitting in my office thinking it's all over. 2 FBI come in and said to me, Juval, and those are 2 FBI that I worked for 12 years with. They were the people that I worked with on cases, who hired me to work with them and so on, that we apologize, but we have to arrest you and take you downtown and book you. You are arrested for lying on a report that you did for a client of yours. I said, guys, good luck to you. I'll come with you with pleasure. You can arrest me. You don't even have to work hard. I'll come with you, and we're going to have we're going to go to court with this. We're going to have a trial, and I'm going to embarrass the hell out of all of you. So they said to me, since we're friends, we are not going to put handcuffs on you in the office. So the building where you are, everybody knows you. You come to the car outside with us. Don't run away, and we'll put handcuffs on you. We have to in the car. I said, no problem. They take me downtown in Manhattan to their office, and no one in the office is willing to fingerprint me because they're all my friends over there. They had to bring in an agent from another city to come in special, and I'm sitting there waiting for him to fingerprint me. Then they walk me to court, and meanwhile, my office called Jerry Shagel.
Who's that?
Jerry Shagel is the most famous criminal lawyer in New York at the time. Jerry Shagel. He defended all the mafia people, the major ones. They couldn't put them in jail just because of him. He is an unbelievable, powerful criminal lawyer. And since I knew that something is going to come up, I thought before, I contacted him a month before I was arrested and said, Jerry, we were friends. I worked with him on cases. If anything happens, I want you to be my lawyer. He says, with pleasure, Juval. Don't worry. I'll come and bail you out. So now they came to pick me up Friday night on purpose, Friday afternoon, that by the time I get to court and by the time they book me, there's no judge to release me. They cannot do anything.
Right.
But I have to go to jail and spend the weekend in jail.
Right.
Yeah. Little did they know that as soon as they arrived in court and booked me in court officially, Jerry was there already and bailed me out. Now we go home. And Jerry said to me, Juval, listen carefully. You are taking on the government. They are going to do everything. They lie, they'll cheat to put you in jail. Actually, what they all want is to say for you to say that you misunderstood the evidence that you saw and the report is false. If you are willing to do that, they'll let you go. I said, Jerry, I'm not going to do that. Absolutely not. Everything in the report is right, and you're going to defend me. It took a year and a half to get to a trial from the moment I was booked. In the year and a half, the FBI went to every client of mine, badmouthed me, told them not to give me work, told them that I'm an Israeli spy who was sent by Israel to make the CIA look bad, as if the CIA needs me to look bad. They're doing a great job on their own without me or without Israel. And we're building again. During that year, every week, this FBI comes into Jerry's office and said, listen, tell your client, please, to just take back his report. Say he's not it and we'll let it go. And Jerry says, I tried. He doesn't want. He wants a trial. Now, little did I know how much it's going to cost. So the cost is astronomical. First of all, Jerry, just to say hello to him, is $50,000 in cash on the table, just to say hello before he even starts. Those are numbers that you cannot believe. Because his clients are all mafia people, they have the money. And the FBI went and put a freeze on all my bank accounts that can use money. My corporate accounts, my bank account. I couldn't pay payroll. I have hundreds of employees. Thank God to a client in Toronto who said to me, Juval, you did very well by me. I will finance you during this period of time. I will pay your pay. I'll do everything for you. I'll pay Jerry for you. And when you win the case, I know you're going to pay me back. And I said that. And because of him, I'm sitting here and talking.
Wow.
Because it went astronomical amount of money. So now the government needs to put a case. They had to go and indict me officially. They went twice to a grand jury and couldn't indict me. The grand jury wouldn't indict me. So they came after 60 days to Jerry and said, could you give us an extension, please? Because we can't find. So I said to Jerry, don't give them. Are you crazy? No. If they did, it's over. He said, Juval, let's give them an extension because they're going to find something else and come back again with something else. Let's do it right. I said, okay. So they took another 30 days and they charged me with the two counts that they do when they have no, that's what they call the ham sandwich indictment.
Right.
One count, they accused me that I lied on a report that I did for GE Capital. I was a consultant for GE Capital. They were taking their best clients every year on a yacht, on a big boat, love boat, on a Caribbean to a cruise, a month's cruise. And they brought in from all over the world the biggest clients. And they hired me to go to all the islands that they're going to be parked and the people are going to get off the boat to do sightseeing to see if it's secure. Mm-hmm. Just to give them a stamp of approval.
Like an advanced team type deal.
Advanced team. And they paid me. I went, I did the tour, I came back, gave them a report. They paid me for the report. Thank you. And they loved it. Okay. What now the indictment was, GE Capital is in Connecticut, I'm in New York, that they charged me for one wire fraud because I wired the report. I'm sorry, not wire. One mail fraud because I sent by mail my report to Connecticut to my client, GE client, and then one count of wire fraud because they wired me the money, paid me for that. I said, Jerry, we have a problem. I needed the money. I drove to Connecticut in my car, and I handed them personally the report, and right there and then they gave me a check. They didn't wire me the money. So those two indictment is obsolete.
It's a wire fraud to send a wire from Connecticut to New York?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, of course. It's across states.
You can't send a wire across states?
Yes, but if it's fraudulent because I lied on a report, I caused them to send me funding because I lied on a report. They claimed that I never went to those islands.
I see.
And I never did the tour. I just wrote a report and gave a report. And therefore, if they can get me accused of lying on that report, then they can say that I also lied on the Panama report. That's what it was all about. They needed to prove that the report, Panama report. Now, GE was outrageous because how did the FBI find out that I even did the job for them? Did the FBI go to all my clients and say, what did you work for you? What did they do for you? They probably did. Until they found that, they said, that's a good one. We can use that. So now we're going to a trial. And at great cost to the government, taxpayers, they brought in from those islands the governors of the island, the police commissioners of the island, all the people that I claimed in my report that I met when I went there, introduced myself and said, GE is sending a love boat full of people here. I'm coming to tell you in advance, and we just say hello and so on and so forth. Every one of those people that I met, I gave them my business card, that I always do, And they gave me their business cards. When I came back, I sent them thank you report, and they sent me thank you report, and 3 of them asked me for a job because they're retiring, in writing. Okay, this is the people that now they're claiming that I never met. The FBI claims that. We go to trial, cut the story short. It's just before Christmas, again. And they brought all those people, put them in Waldorf Astoria for a week, wined and dined them, so they can say that they never met me. And it was 3 years later, 4 years later. I mean, I came to somebody's office, shook his hand, to think he remembers me. No. The first gentleman that they introduced, the prosecutor that introduced, is the governor of one of the islands. An older gentleman, looks distinguished, really, and so on. He walks in and sits down, and the prosecutor says, look at this guy there, Juval Aviv. Have you ever met with him? The guy looked at me and said, no, I never met with him. Are you sure you never met with him? Sure. Jerry gets up and says, Governor, good afternoon. I'm glad you're here. Tell me before we start, are you taking any medication? The government says, I'm over 70 years old. Everyone in that age takes medication. Yes, I'm taking medication. Would you tell the court what type of medication do you take? No, I couldn't. I'm not going to say. So the judge says, excuse me, Governor, you're in my court now, and you have to tell him the truth. Okay, I take medication I have Alzheimer. The jury were laughing. The judge was furious. So you don't remember him? No. Okay. Jerry takes out from his pocket, because we knew who was coming, so we investigate all of them. We prepared. Jerry takes out a magazine, a newspaper, and says to the governor, do you know Susan Smith? He said, no, I don't know Susan Smith. Are you sure that you do not know Susan Smith? No, I don't know Susan Smith. He picks up the newspaper. Susan Smith is the cousin of the governor. She was awarded as a beauty queen of the island, and he had pictures with her on the front page of the newspaper a month ago, before he came, and he didn't remember her. Oh, when the judge saw that, he says to him, Mr. Governor, I want you to get up and leave the room right now, this court, and never come back. And just before he is getting up, and he said, actually, now that I look at him, I think I remember him, and he walks out.
Oh, my God.
But the court case was for a week. One by one, all those guys that they brought in, Jerry did a number on them, similar numbers. So now the jury is going to deliberation. And you never know, because the government is trying to do it. 2 minutes after they're going to deliberation, the foreman of the jury comes up and says, Your Honor, I need to talk to you in chambers. My heart was on fire. Now it's more money. It's Friday night. I thought it's going to be over already. Monday, it's another $25,000 per day. So we all go, the prosecutor, Jerry, myself, and the lawyer, another lawyer. We go into the chambers, and the foreman said, Your Honor, we, the jury, in the jury room, we want to acquit Aviv right away, but we are afraid that the FBI is going to go after us also. The judge says, I understand. I will come to the jury room. I will address the jury. I will give all of you an 800 number. It is a free number that you can use from any phone, to my chamber. And any time in the future that you guys have problems with the FBI, you think you have, you call my number and call my chamber and let me know about it. But it doesn't allow you now to go and commit crimes. So you can, he was laughing at me. Now they go back, and I said, "Oh my God, I hope it works." I cannot tell you what it takes for somebody who is accused by the government to, when the jury is coming back, and the clerk says, "All rise," the jury comes in, and you're standing there. With all my fame and experience of doing Munich and 10 other things, I was never so weak and never so worried as I was at that moment, because I didn't know what they're going to say. My whole future was on the line. I had my whole family, my friends in the background waiting to see. The place was full with reporters from all over the world because they wanted to see what happens. The jury exonerated me in 2 minutes. Not guilty on all cases. And the judge said, which I framed it and I have it in my office on the wall. The judge said, "Mr. Aviv, you are leaving my court with your chin up." I'm quoting now, "with your chin up. The government has concocted a case against you to punish you for the Panam case. And you have prevailed. Good luck to you." So now, to be truth, I needed to go to the bathroom. I needed to pee so badly because I was holding it. So the bathrooms are not on the same floor of the courtroom. They're on the lower court. I'm running to the elevator to go downstairs to pee. I walk into the elevator. The prosecutor and the FBI guy who were instigating everything against me was standing there. So I look at them and I said, "Guys, remember one thing for the rest of your life. You had your day, now it's mine. For the rest of your life, always look behind your back, because one day I'll be there." So the FBI guy stopped the elevator, ran into court and started, Your Honor, Mr. Aviv just threatened us in the elevator." And the judge turned around and said, "Good for him." That was the end of it.
Oh my God.
Now, what the FBI did, the government did, it's not only the FBI, but the government did, a week during jury, when they were interviewing jurors for the jury collection, they put a article in Wall Street Journal front page. Mossad agent Juval Aviv defrauded GE Capital and is anti-American. That was an article while they're getting juries for jurors for the.
That was during the initial jury selection.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That's what they put there. When I won the case, there was Wall Street Journal put a small note in page 32. He was just acquitted from all case. I mean, they wouldn't. Why I remember it? Because on the same page, they had a big article against Gingrich. Something about Gingrich. And then so it's Gingrich, and then Juval Aviv, the spy who defrauded GE Capital. That was, every juror saw it. I mean, they're all in New York, they all read Wall Street.
Yeah, how is that not a case for a mistrial?
Yeah. But all I tell you, now I understand what the government is doing to Comey, what they're doing, all those lawsuits against the, in New York, the, what's her name? Wow, I'm getting tired. The
lawsuit in New York against
what's her name? Who sued Trump for money?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember the name, anyways, right off the top of my head. Yeah, all of this stuff is.
That's what he's doing to all of them. They're all suing, and they're all trying to sue because it's costing you money to defend yourself.
Yeah,
and the toll it takes on your family when they do that, it's punishing you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very rare that somebody wins a case against the government.
What I'm proud of to say, that it's known, I was sued by the FBI in the Southern District of New York. My trial was done at the Southern District of New York. 99% of all cases at the Southern District of New York, when they take a case and they really try to put you in jail, you always go to jail in the end.
Right.
So that's why the pressure was so high. And besides that, the government is trying, so pushing them to make sure that I'm going to be indicted, that I'm going to be accused, that I'm going to be all of it. I mean, the Southern District, and I won. It was Jerry. And at the same time, while he was doing my case, he was doing another case in the next room.
Jeez.
He was defending the promoter of the boxing promoter, the guy with the big hair. Do you remember with the big afro who was
Muhammad Ali?
no promoter?
Oh.
The promoter who was promoting all those big
don't know.
boxing.
What's the lawyer's name? How do you spell his name?
Jerry
Jerry.
Shargel.
How do you spell the last name?
Shargel.
Jerry Shargel. Pull him up. I'm sure it'll have a list of some of his most famous clients.
Okay, let's see here. I believe this is
Is that
him,
Jerry right there?
Yeah, that's him, and the one in the hat, and all of them is him.
Type in Jerry Shargel clients.
Okay.
It's not client.
Yeah, do a space
he was
after.
defended. What was it? It's famous. Think.
Okay, click on his Wikipedia. I'm sure to list them there. Notable clients. There you go. Amanda Bynes, Jeffrey,
Wow.
James Conan,
Gotti.
Mark Dreyer, Johnny Machine Gun Johnny, John Gotti,
Yes, he got him free.
Sammy the Bull Gravano.
Of course. Hey, give me some credit.
Whoa. Christopher Chris Gotti Lorenzo, co-founder of Murder Inc. Records, who was acquitted on all charges of money laundering and conspiracy to launder money against him. Wow. Oscar Wyatt. Whoa. Oscar Wyatt, the Texas oil man who pleaded guilty to paying kickbacks to Hussein's administration to
Yes.
gain access to Iraqi oil contracts.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And Malcolm Smith.
No. What was his name? The promoter, guys.
Just type in the guy's name and type in boxing promoter afterwards. Click back.
I gotcha.
Boxing promoter.
John
John
Alite?
Alite?
Who?
John Alite? Not John Alite.
No.
As on career mobsters, defending the mobsters.
Not my.
Huh.
It's not pulling up anything about a boxing promoter. That's weird.
About boxing, soaking up knowledge about boxing.
It was his headlines. All I mean, it
Really?
was, yes, because what he did after he was acquitted, he took the whole jury to a week vacation in Hawaii. I told the jury, I'm sorry, I can't do it.
That's incredible, man.
Yes.
Wow.
You remember the black guy with a big.
It's not ringing a bell for me. I don't know. In the 80s?
Yes.
Yeah, it was too early for me. I don't remember. I was born in 87, so I was a little late to the party. But that's an incredible story. Like I said last night, you're the Forrest Gump of the shadow world.
Yes.
You've been everywhere. And we haven't even talked about the Danny Casolaro Promise software stuff.
Talking about my upcoming book. You know, everything that I talked now about, I'm writing a book. I'm writing my memoirs right now. And you're the first person that I talk about it, because I just finished writing a book proposal, and I'm looking for a publisher right now to publish it. And it's going to tell all those stories.
So it covers everything from the original Wrath of God operation to
and what
coming back
happened to me
New York.
after in America, and all the shadow government and everything around it.
And there's like a whole thing, a whole backstory. You knew Danny Casolaro.
Oh.
And you were working with, and like there's a story about how it's all connected to Robert Maxwell with the Promise software, and how you met Ghislaine and all that stuff. There's so much.
There's so much, yeah.
You're connected to so many different, as most people would call conspiracies that happened in the United States.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I wanted to write the book, because there's too many events that really happened that I know of, that I participated in and worked in, that are being now assumed as conspiracy and poo-pooed by the public and by the media and put away. And I said, time has come to make sure that, to do justice by those people who died in those conspiracies, and their story will never be told correctly. and it has to be told correctly. It's not fair.
Yeah.
It's not fair because, when you're in America, and I want to end by saying to you one thing. I
Yes.
hope it's going to be in your podcast. Most Americans, as we know, they're innocent people. They don't have malice in their vein. They don't go out to do fraud on purpose and so on. Most people would like to have a good job. They want to come home to their family at night, have dinner, have sex, go to sleep, and enjoy life.
Yes.
They don't want to hear that their president is corrupt. They don't want to hear that their government is corrupt, that people are dying all over in operations that shouldn't have happened at all. They don't want to hear it. And that's why the government gets away with all of it. Not only the U.S. government, it's Netanyahu and then Israel gets away with it, and other countries too. Mm-hmm. But it hurts us because we live here, and it's our government who has their share in all that kind of things that they now label conspiracy.
Right. The people are not their government.
Exactly.
That's something that most people have to get a grip on
Yeah.
these days.
Yeah.
Juval, thank you so much for doing this, man. This
Oh.
has been fascinating, to say the very least. You've been everywhere, and I hope your book can come out soon, covering
you.
all this stuff. Is there a title of it yet, or
Yes.
is it called like Exposed or something?
Exposed.
Exposed. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I sent you I
Yeah.
did send you the
Yeah. Riveting.
the book proposal.
Yes. Yes. It's a very riveting story, and I hope people can get access to it sooner than
I
later.
hope so.
Anything else we should tell people before we leave?
No, just open your eyes and try to make your own decisions. How you interpreted the news when you read the news, or you listen to the news, or you watch TV and get information. If it doesn't make sense to you, it may be not correct. It may be something that you need to just explore a little further.
Very well said. Thank you again. Thank you for coming. I
Thank
very
you for
much
having
enjoyed
me.
this.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.